up, Woodward? We are starting off your day with a brand new crew. Meet Broder.
I can't control my arms sometimes. My limbs are just kind of flying.
Detroit Kool-Aid.
Fired up!
Y'all got Kool-Aid.
I'm fired up! But with the Wake Up Woodward crew, he's actually a part of the family.
Flannel Sam.
Ask me about my wiener.
Okay.
Along with JB and KG. Wake Up Woodward gets you all of your Detroit sports talk. Every morning, 8 to 10 a.m. Live on Woodward Sports. A show for Detroit, by Detroit, with people from Detroit. Tell Siri to set an alarm, because it's time to Wake Up Woodward.
Woo! I still get pumped up looking at the new intro, man. Shout out to Ryan, Noah, Stick, everybody that had something to do with getting that intro going. What up, though, people? It's Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys for choosing to kick off the morning with the Woo crew. We got the entire starting five plus the six man, Justin, in the building. How you doing this morning, Flannel?
You know, I'm great. And the funny thing is, I was in the back right as the introduction was being finished, and I actually got a sneak peek before anybody really did. And the one thing that Ryan specifically mentioned before, and he was absolutely right, was the crispiest shot of the entire intro was of JBSMOOOOOV.
Yes, sir.
100%. I saw that and I'm like, damn, man, that is crispy. Ryan was absolutely right. So a shout out Ryan Lynch, shout out Noah, everyone in the back who makes us look good. There's nobody who I'd rather have on my team than those guys.
So well said, well stated.
Yeah.
You know, hey, what up, though, JB? Smooth, Woodward Sports MVP.
How sick is this lid?
What's going on?
What a
yeah,
hat.
I got the Houston Rockets Chinese New Year. You know, it's a very old school throwback hat, and you know I'm repping the Red Eyes today. Shout out to the Glorious League.
Let's ride.
Is that the Glorious Cannabis has a red eye softball team?
Well, they don't have a Red Eye softball team, but this was just for 420.
Yeah.
You know, so.
That is absolutely genius.
Team Red Eyes.
Genius. Also, JB, the hat. And I asked you, I can't remember how you responded, but is that the actual, like the Chinese written, what's the word, scripture? Like, it looks like a rocket. Like the actual words on your hat looks like a rocket.
So I don't know for sure if this is actually like Houston Rockets written out in Chinese or whatever, but it does have like this little monkey on the back of it, so I'm assuming that's just the logo or the symbol for it.
Gotcha.
Like, I don't know.
Right.
It looked cool when I bought it, so.
Right.
Looks cool on your head right now.
Man. And you know, I had to put on the shades to make this a little bit more appropriate. Hey, in the sound booth, we got Detroit's #1 draft pick, Rookie of the Year. KG, what up, though?
What up, though, man? I'm trying to get like you, man. You got the shades on. I'm like, let me do the shades here. Like,
That's right.
what's good, man?
T-Pain.
That's right. You
I'm
know
in
what?
love with the stripper.
Tell you pin her ass down.
Let's go. And we got Matt Broder, our credential Lions and Tigers beat reporter. How you doing, brother? You want to tell the people what we're talking about?
Yes, I'm doing fantastic. We're actually going to start off. We got to talk about these NBA Finals. This game won last night between the Celtics and the Pacers.
Woo.
Got a couple things that happened around the world of the NFL, the NBA. We got to talk about the Tigers last night. That game was over quickly.
We only got to do that. It's okay.
We kind of have to. That's our team. And they play every single night. So we're stuck with them until September, October, hopefully a little bit later, but we'll see. We got Rod Beard coming on at 8:30.
Let's go, the legend.
Actually, 8:45. He's coming on with the Woodward Pistons segment at 9. And then mixed in between there, before Rod, after Rod, we're talking Lions OTA. Today is day number 2. We're going to talk about some storylines we're looking at.
Go.
Tomorrow is when the media gets to show up and watch them on the field, get our first taste of the vets and the young guys out on the field. It's going to be great. So we're going to review that. And then after Rod, if we have time, one of Rod's guys, Mr. Justin Rogers of the Detroit News, brought up 5 names, 5 possible contract extensions that may be coming next for the Lions. I want to throw those guys in front of you in the 9 o'clock hour after Rod Beard, the legend himself.
That's
Rod
right.
Beard.
Hey, you know what? I know we can't wait for the games to start for the Lions especially, but it feels like football hasn't left at all. it just, we've been kind of, especially here at Woodward Sports, kind of covering everything that's been going on with the draft. This thing went kind of playoffs, barely had any time to lick our wounds, and then all of a sudden we're right into this draft, and we're saying, you know what? Let's get on our way to a Super Bowl, and now it's already OTA.
Yep, we were right in the middle of a draft that took place in the city of Detroit. So, yeah, football really did never leave. But you know what? That's all well and good because the NFL is king, and the Detroit Lions are at the center of the NFL universe right now for the first time really ever.
Oh, man, let's go. Flannel, did you check out the Celtics and Pacers last night? NBA playoffs. We got to talk about it because that was a pretty electric game.
Yeah.
New faces in new places or in this NBA playoffs this year.
I'll tell you what. If I'm the Indiana Pacers right now, if I'm their players, if I'm Rick Carlisle, who actually took some responsibility for it at the end of the game, I am kicking myself right now because the Pacers had a chance to get the Boston Celtics, the number 1 seed, on the ropes. Not just any Boston Celtics, the Boston Celtics, the Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum-led Boston Celtics, who have had a inauspicious playoff history, I will just say that. They've had a couple of underperformances, and if you get that team on the ropes, you can probably beat them. However, up 3 with 8 seconds left, the Pacers couldn't execute an inbounds pass. They turned it over. Yeah. And to the Celtics' credit, and I got to give credit to one Joe Mazzulla, who was actually often maligned for last year's playoffs. They thought he was a clear downgrade to Ime Udoka. He drew up a great play. They got the ball, Drew Holiday to Jaylen Brown in the corner so that it didn't give really Pascal Siakam an opportunity to foul him up 3, because if you do that, you risk Jaylen Brown just rising up and getting 3 free throws, and Jaylen Brown was able to knock down the 3. And obviously Boston was able to pull it out in overtime, but the Pacers, they really let one slip away, and I think that was the death nail for them in this series. That was the one for them to get, and they didn't get it.
Yeah, they had it in their in their hands, but they came back. Boston got out to, I think, a 12 or a 14-0 start. I just about tuned out of that. If the Tigers had any sort of competition in that game, I would have probably leaned towards watching the Tigers game, finishing that out. But fortunately, the Pacers came back. Then Jaylen Brown, like big-time players, hit big-time shots. Yeah. Like that's why that's the value of a big 3, like having multiple stars to take a big shot when the game's on the line. That's what started with, and we're about to talk about him, Kyrie back in the day with LeBron. Like we didn't used to see Michael Jordan dish the rock when it came down to the wire, but now we're seeing multiple stars on teams able to take that final shot. Jaylen Brown knocked it down. Celtics go up 1-0.
Steve Kerr, John Paxson.
Yeah. What I want to see.
That's true. That is actually true.
What I want to see as this series progresses is, will Indiana's depth be able to sustain what the stars from Boston Celtics are going to be able to bring? Because this is like the Celtics starting 5 versus kind of the Indiana Pacers plus 3 or 4 off of the bench as well.
Well, that's the thing. Last night, you had major contributions from Obi Toppin and TJ McConnell, and then you saw Tyrese Halliburton, Miles Turner, and Pascal Siakam all have 20 and 20-plus double-doubles, efficient 20-plus double-doubles, and they still couldn't win. They played about as well as they possibly could, but unfortunately, with what happens sometimes with young teams in the playoffs, although you've got guys like Pascal Siakam, who has championship experience, and Miles Turner and the like, led by a young up-and-coming star like Tyrese Halliburton, they're going to have some playoff growing pains, and they kind of it's hard to say choked when you're the lower-seeded team, when you're the Pacers going on the road, but they had an opportunity to win Game 1, and they didn't do it. I personally think, not that we're getting too much into predictions, that Boston blows out Indiana in Game 2.
Ooh, damn. It's like,
I like that.
I don't know, man, because Indiana gave them everything that they can handle. You look at, they had 7 players in double figures, I believe, man. Yeah. And it really just came down to turnovers. They had a lot of turnovers late in that game, and I got to give credit to not Jaylen Brown, of course he hit the shot, but Jason Tatum. In that fourth quarter, he was kind of struggling to get some shots to fall, but in overtime, he came through. So, I mean, it's going to be a good series. I got to go in 7 games, guys.
It looks like I can go that way for sure. No, you go ahead.
No, but Jason Tatum in the fourth quarter, he wasn't very good.
He wasn't.
But, however, due to a large part to his teammates, particularly Jaylen Brown, they were able to make it to overtime, and Jason Tatum did get that big go-ahead and 1, and then that 3 to put them up 4. Those are some big-time shots. Yeah. And Jason Tatum is one of those guys, and we can actually probably get into it now, whose legacy could really be helped out by a championship.
That's what I want to ask you guys. We're down to a Final Four, and there's some new names. Someone new was about to get a ring. Whose legacy needs a championship more at this point? And I put down 4. I'm going to add a 5th, but Kyrie Irving, Jason Tatum, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton. You can also include Luka in that, but Kyrie's such an intriguing player in this question. I want to hear what you guys think. Whose legacy needs a championship more?
Oh, Luka and Tatum. But out of just those players, if we're not including,
I just want you to pick one.
It's got to be Jason Tatum. asked me, when you're comparing yourself to the Mamba, on his own admission, when you're talking about in all of your interviews, no, I'm the next face of the league. You got to go out there and win a ring. You've had a team now in this Eastern Conference that's been kind of tailor-made to be able to get to these finals and get something done, and they just haven't been able to. And he considers himself to be not just the best player on the Celtics, but the best player in the league for future purposes. I know he believes right now, but he was asked a question. I forget exactly who asked it of him. And they were like, hey, do you believe that you're the next face of the league? He was like, as LeBron James is going out, I absolutely do. So his legacy absolutely needs a championship right now in this phase of his career. Not one of those, okay, down the road, maybe 4 or 5 years, he's on his way out. You need one right now to start something as it relates to your dominance over the league going forward as well.
That's a great point. And to kind of further that, Jason Tatum has had some playoff underperformances in the 2020 Eastern Conference Finals. 41-31 shooting splits as the higher seed lost to the Heat. The 2022 finals averaged 22 points per game, 37% shooting for that series. They lost, and in the elimination game 6, 13 points on 6 of 18 from the floor. Last year, of course, when they lost in the Eastern Conference Finals as the 2 seed to the number 8 seed Miami Heat, shot 23% from 3 on 7 attempts per game. That is what we call shooting your team out of a series, including in the elimination home game 7, 5 of 13 from the floor, 14 points. So yes, Jason Tatum, he's got some demons to conquer because his his playoff numbers also as a whole are a little bit below when it comes to efficiency what they are in the regular season. And they've had many chances, and they just haven't come through. I'm going to go with Luka, though, and here's why.
Wow, okay.
Luka is a guy, to me, that out of all those guys that you mentioned, has an all-time great ceiling. When you look at his numbers, both in the regular season and the playoffs, he is off to a historic start. And it was really him and him being drafted or the draft day trade that kind of in the post-Dirk Nowitzki Dallas Mavericks era has turned them back into consistent winners. He's a guy that I think if they win the finals this year, if he wins finals MVP, his legacy could take that Giannis and Jokic bump to where you're like, man, is he top 25 already? Is he a guy that could actually end up being top 10? Just because when you look at how great his numbers have been, what if he's a guy who ends his career, I don't know, 30,000 points, 10,000 assists, 10,000 rebounds? It would take a lot of longevity, of course, but then add a couple finals MVPs to that. We're talking about a potential top 10, top 5 player of all time. And I don't think Jason Tatum has that ceiling. And when it comes to Halliburton and Edwards, they're babies still. So to me, it's got to be Luka Doncic.
Go ahead.
No, I'm not mad at that at all. Luka would be number 2 on my list because absolutely he needs a championship going forward to improve his legacy. But obviously the easy answer is Tatum. You got one guy that hasn't been there. You got one guy that has been there and won, and you got 2 guys that have never been there. So Jason Tatum, he's the easy answer. We've seen him flop out on the biggest stage, man. So he needs to bring it home, especially for this loaded Celtics team.
What about Kyrie? I'm going with Kyrie Irving.
Why?
He's won a ring.
I know, but he won
one of
the
the biggest finals moments ever.
I know, but he's still in the shadow of LeBron. Like, he doesn't get any credit for that. And he had the biggest shot of that playoff run, of that championship season. If he can do it, he's got this label of being a cancer in the locker room, a team killer. Like, no one's been able to figure out how to play with him, including his best friends. He now goes to Dallas. It doesn't work out. It looks like it's maybe the worst trade in history last year. They look horrible. And they come back this year and turn things around completely, led by Jason Kidd. He got a contract extension recently. If he can do it alongside Luka in this new era of the NBA, I know that it is all offense and they sometimes struggle playing defense, but if Kyrie gets a second without LeBron, does that like bring down LeBron's legacy at all? That's a conversation for another time. Probably not, but it certainly raises Kyrie's.
Well, he becomes in the conversation as maybe possibly the greatest Robin ever.
Yeah.
Just doing it with 2 different players.
Yeah.
And let's be clear, he would be, you'd think in order for them to win that he would be the Robin to a Luka's Batman. But yeah, he played a major role in the Cavs getting the championship in 2016. He obviously hit the big shot. He had great numbers both in the finals and in the playoffs. And honestly, Broder, one thing that you did say is maybe it would kill some of those team cancer allegations, which have been really pervasive around Kyrie Irving in the last few years or so. So I actually don't. I originally was like, nah, not Kyrie Irving, but you made me think a little bit, Broder.
Just a little bit. It would definitely help him, but I do give him a little bit more credit for that kind of 2-star championship versus the Warriors that they won. The shots that he was hitting, the defense that he was playing, the way that he managed the entire game as well from the point guard position. While you have LeBron James on your team, you're not overshadowed. None of the moments were too big for you. And it's not like I'm trying to run out of my way to be able to give, people like Jason Tatum or Kyrie Irving, a lot of love or praise, but just as it relates to who they've shown themselves to be as basketball players, I give Kyrie a lot of credit for that first one. So I do believe it would help if he got another one. Definitely would help. But I believe Tatum or Luka currently not having one, it almost, especially this early in their career, it almost puts it on cruise control for me. I believe from that point forward, they become the face of the league, whichever one wins that championship first. It becomes an easier path for them.
And I'm gonna piggyback off of that. If the Dallas Mavericks win the championship and Luka Doncic wins Finals MVP and puts up a dominant performance, he's the best player in the world. He takes that title from Jokic immediately. Yeah. So I think that even furthers my point that Luka's legacy could be helped the most from winning a championship.
That's true. That's true. You know what? I know we got a few more things in our Around the City. Brother, do you mind if we talk about a few of those in the next segment and then get the Tigers as well?
Yeah.
Cool. But first, let me tell you guys where you can take your pet. You guys already know we got the pet line and we got some lions on the topic sheet today. Where do we go to get our pet the best? Premier Pet Supplies, hands down Michigan's best pet store. They have the same prices and all the conveniences of the online and big box retailers with one major difference. They've been family and locally owned and operated for 30 plus years. Over 60 brands of food with nutrition experts to help you. They offer same-day, local curbside, and home delivery. Premier Pet Supply, give your pet the best. Visit www.premierpetsupply.com.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week, walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Drive into summer and drive into savings during Feldman Chevrolet's biggest Memorial Day sale ever. We're stocked with new Chevy cars, trucks, and SUVs, all priced to move. Like this 2024 Silverado for only $217 a month, or this 2024 Equinox for as low as $199 a month. Find your freedom in a Feldman at the Memorial Day sale going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. This is exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC, the same great service that customers have come to know and trust. On Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today at lesstanford.com. Les Stanford Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Let's drive right down Woodward. What up, though? People, welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys for choosing to kick off the day with the Woo Crew.
Woo woo.
We got the whole lineup in the building as well. It's definitely starting off to be a good show already. Talked a little bit of the NBA playoffs. Talked a little bit of the Detroit Tigers. I'm going to expand a little bit more in this segment right now. Detroit Tigers. Yikes. 10-3 loss to the Kansas City Royals. It drops them to 2 games under 500. Flannel Sam, 23-25. Man, you're looking more and more down as I'm discussing it.
Well, the Tigers, honestly, they're teetering on irrelevance at this point. If they keep losing like this, they're going to be that team that even on this show that we just gloss over, you say, Tigers lost. Okay, moving on. because that's kind of what they're doing. They're now 8.5 games out of first place. Only 2 out of the wild card. I better put that out there, but still. And I think what frustrated me the most is they came into the month after that series in which they won at home against the Cardinals, 18-13. They had a road trip that they were about to embark on where ultimately they went 1-5. And they gave a couple of those games away, but it's like, okay, you were playing division leader Yankees, playing division leader Guardians. Let's see when they have this next stretch of 18 games, 12 of them at home, 15 of 18 against losing teams, how they would do. And I said, go 11-7. What their record is on this stretch now is 4-7. Not good enough. And the reality is that makes them 5-12 in their last 17 games. That's how you torpedo your season. It just is. What have they shown in this stretch? They've shown they can't beat winning teams, they can't beat losing teams, they can't win at home, they can't win on the road, and they can't win divisional games.
Jeez.
And last night and the night before, the Royals just look like an actual good baseball team, and the Tigers look like they were frauds all along. It's just it just is how it is. I mean, both of the games are pretty much blowouts. You look at the Royals, you look at Bobby Witt Jr., who looks like a young superstar. I actually, for a while, argued that Riley Green was better. I don't feel so good about that argument anymore. And how about Salvador Perez, by the way? Salvador Perez, a man who is going to walk into Cooperstown one day, one of the greatest catchers ever, a World Series champion, is having at age 34, when I thought he was washed, the best regular season of his life in terms of offensive production. And then, of course, in the offseason, they just went and got Seth Lugo, who is now fighting for Tarek Skubal with the AL Cy Young, although I expect Seth Lugo to kind of regress to the mean a little bit. But still, this Royals team is really, really good, and this Tigers team, they're basically playing themselves out of any sort of playoff spot or divisional hope and into irrelevancy right before our eyes, and it's just unfortunate to see.
It's night and day. It's bookended, too. You go back to April 26th through the 28th, that Kansas City Royals series, when they took 2 of 3 in that series, won the series against the Royals, you look at where they are right now, it's like night and day. What? These bats caught up to them. The pitching is getting, I believe, is going to get stressed out. What do you do this year? You got to do something, right? Like, I know we've been talking about, like, analysis, taking the time to kind of assess and things of that nature, but at what point in time does it become important for this organization to do something to kind of mitigate this?
It's hard when you don't know the full strategy of why they haven't done certain things, why they have, whether it's Flaherty getting signed for 1 year and Maeda for 2, or why they're not going after a big name bat or something. We don't know the whole strategy. It is baseball. It's a long season. It's time to be patient. We see Colt Keith starting to turn it on in a major way. So things can happen. I don't read too much into last night, although the frustrating part with this team is they're so polarizing. They're so bipolar. One series or one game, they look like the best team in baseball, and then they come Monday's game against the Royals frustrated me the most. After a good series win out in Arizona, you come with chances to win the game, chances to do things, to steal that first game from a very good Kansas City Royals team, and you can't figure out how to make it happen. And then when your pitcher does have a bad night, Casey Mize got rocked. 1.2 innings pitched. I think it was 9 hits, 6 earned runs. Really, all 4 pitchers who pitched, it wasn't their night. But you're right, pitcher, they just don't. They can't be perfect every single night. Yeah, you're gonna have clunkers, but you can't have these clunker series. We can't be going into the 3rd game of the Kansas City Royals trying to avoid a sweep. We're so fortunate to have Tarek Skubal on the mound. Yeah. We have an awesome southpaw battle coming up tonight. Tarek Skubal versus Cole Reagans, who I love watching pitch. But it can't just always fall on Tarek Skubal to shut the door. And one of my favorite stats from Justin Verlander's MVP season back in, was it 2012? It was either 11 or 13 of his wins came after a Tigers loss. So he was a losing streak killer. That's what we need out of Tarek Skubal. Yeah. But we need this team to be better so we don't have to rely on him, have him carry a winning streak, especially in divisional games.
Yeah, and I just want to speak to the division itself. I think that was the thing that was unaccounted for with the Tigers this year. They didn't expect this AL Central to be this good. And like Sam said, you're losing a lot of ground very quickly. Another few losses like this, and you're probably out of this thing. And I hate to say this early in the season, but it's just the facts. You got the Indians, you got the Twins, you're losing to the Royals. Like, this is not good, man. They need to do something fast.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? As our resident pitcher on the show,
hello,
as well as our credentialed Tigers beat reporter and writer, I do want to ask you about Casey Mize as well. Is last night one of those games where we seeing pitchers kind of stressed out from the current situation going on with the bats, or is this more of what Casey Mize needs to figure out?
Maybe a little bit of both. I mean, I don't know what's in his head, his mindset going into that game. For all he knows, he is stressing in the first inning, knowing I got to pitch a perfect game. I can't give up a run early. I can't give up multiple hits because this team doesn't have the juice on offense to come back. I don't know if that's what was in his head, but he certainly didn't have his stuff. I mean, he was getting rocked from the beginning. They opened with a triple, if I'm not mistaken, and they were just hitting the ball so hard off him and really against every pitcher. Bobby Witt, his 2 homers were both the 2 hardest hit balls of the day. I think the first one is 111 miles per hour off the bat. The other one was like 108 or 109. Like, looking at a homegrown shortstop prospect, that's what kills me. Like, that's what we need out of the Tigers.
Yeah.
And a little tease, Kevin McGonigal, shortstop down in Single Light playing with Max Clark. He and Max Clark had a big day yesterday. It was like on not national TV, Clark. But it was like a national minor league broadcast going against like the number 12 prospect number 12 pitching prospect in the bigs. They both had monster days. Max Clark hit a 2-run homer, but yeah, it's hard to tell. I'm chalking this one up as just a bad outing out of Casey Mize. It happens. Yeah. I don't know if there's anything to it. His velocity looked okay. He just wasn't very sharp. And last thing, real quick, you talked about Salvador Perez. We don't see this very often, a catcher late in his career, especially the catching position, where their legs usually die by 30, having his best year. It was cool yesterday seeing Joey Wentz Monday. Joey Wentz came into the game. He gave up a home run to Salvador Perez, but he grew up a Royals fan watching Salvador Perez. So he was talking about his friends were shooting him text after the game, like, you know, ripping on him and for giving a home run up to his one of his idols.
You know what? Just a fan in the chat. I wanted to be able to shout out a couple of these comments here. He said, Tigers are what Broder said they would be, but the Central teams have improved, leaving the Tigers behind.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yes.
We didn't expect the Indians, Twins, or Royals to be, maybe one of the teams to be, 5, 6, 7 games ahead of the other, but not all three. I didn't expect the Royals to be this good. Mm-hmm. I definitely didn't expect the Guardians. And did I say Indians before?
Yeah,
I didn't expect the Guardians.
Okay. I did too, Guardians.
Yeah. What was I? Oh, I was writing something last night actually about Michigan baseball. And one of their assistant coaches played just before my time. He was drafted by the Indians in 2008. So I wrote that. That must be stuck in my head.
And you know what, Sam, I want to get your take on it as well. But I'll tee it up first. Ginger Nation said, everyone saying Sam is a fair weather fan. You do realize he's really just being an objective sports reporter, right? Personally, one of the reasons I like him.
Well, and that's the thing, and that's directed to people like Shad and Steve O'Baby. Because Steve O'Baby was just like, who would you rather be, the Tigers or the White Sox? What kind of a question is that?
Right, come on.
Is that our benchmark right now? No, it most certainly is not. And I think there's there is some credence to the whole, the Tigers are kind of who they thought they were, 2 games under 500. The rest of the division has just, especially Cleveland and Kansas City has just kind of surged ahead. But you got to account for that sometimes. And at the beginning of the year, it looked like all 3 of them were maybe overperforming expectations. But the reality is, especially since the Tigers have played them both on this stretch of bad baseball, the Tigers are the ones that look like the frauds. Yeah. And Cleveland and Kansas City are the ones that look like actual good baseball teams. And we saw it these last couple of nights. The Tigers don't even belong on the same field with the Royals. I didn't expect to see that, just getting their asses kicked 2 nights in a row.
And by the way, I promise you, I'll just speak for myself. You guys will get bored of me. I'm optimistic. I tend to lean that way. If we didn't have someone on the other side of it, if we didn't have a little bit of parity, I promise you would get bored of me.
No, never.
And you know what?
I would get bored of me if someone just, all right, they suck and they're just trying to be positive most of the time. I try to be critical, but obviously leaning towards optimistic. You need the other side of the argument. Otherwise, this really isn't a sports talk show. It's just a fan show about our team.
Yep. And definitely, Flannel, don't check Shad's reply back to Ginger.
Shad. It's all well and good. It's just, when you go on stretches like this, it torpedoes your season. We were all extremely optimistic. They were 18-13, and 5-12 stretches this early in the season kill your team. The Tigers are 8.5 out of the division. And I think we all agree that the division was something that was attainable. Obviously, we didn't expect the Royals and the Guardians to play as well as they did, but I didn't even care. I was just like, figure it out, find a way. If one of those teams are good, then be better. But obviously, that hasn't worked out that way, and unfortunately, the Tigers are in danger of getting swept. Obviously, it's nice to have Tarek Skubal on the mound, although Cole Reagans is pretty damn good on the other side. But I expect the Tigers to get this one because you expect the Tigers to win every time Tarek Skubal is on the mound. But
if they give him run support.
I was just about to say, give Skubal
some runs. To be fair, Skubal's actually gotten decent run support.
Yeah.
Reese Olson is the one that
unluckiest player in baseball.
He's the unluckiest player in baseball history at this point of the season. They never give him run support, and then a ball goes off his leg, and he has to leave the game. My goodness, Reese Olson is the old bad luck Brian meme, basically. Damn. Throws 8 shutout innings, team still loses.
Right.
With what's that smile he did? Kind of like.
Yeah.
I love Sam, dog.
You kind of look like bad luck Brian.
I appreciate that. I just don't have the braces and whatnot.
Oh, man. I love Flannel, man.
Nate Edgington brings up he makes a really subtle statement. I think it's a conversation we need to have later in the week with Justin. He said Red Wings season 2.0. Interesting.
That was on my mind.
There were a lot of similarities. We don't have time to talk about it right now, but let's maybe we'll throw it in the show sheet later in the week, Mr.
Wings were a little
Juice.
better.
Real quick, Dante151. Shout out to you, $4.99 donation, my guy. Super chat, brother. Why does AJ Hint make us suffer by putting Javier Baez in the starting lineup? I'm so effing tired seeing Baez in the lineup. He does nothing. I got no answer for you, bro.
Yeah,
Baez watch.
I got none.
I personally think he's being handcuffed, but I understand if people don't necessarily agree with me there. But it just seems that way.
He could be trolling. He could be trolling the powers that be, saying, hey, we're going to roll him out there. You've seen what it could be with a good hitter in the lineup. It's your choice whether to keep him or not.
You know what? If AJ Hinch is trolling, fire his ass. This is Major League Baseball. This is Major League Baseball.
Thank you, Sam.
And
talk your shit, Sam.
I'm not mad at you, brother, for bringing it up. But if you're a manager of a team and you're trolling and all that, and I'm not accusing him of doing so, fire him. If you're handcuffed, then the Tigers are a Mickey Mouse organization. Then they're not a real baseball organization.
Yeah.
Play the best players out there.
Yeah.
And to be clear, my statement, I appreciate that. My statement that I think the Tigers have enough capable hitters to have a good lineup as long as the best players are out there, that's not looking so great right now. Mm-hmm. Have you peaked even Mark Canha and Riley Green's May numbers? They're not looking so great. But still, you can't have the worst everyday player in Major League Baseball over the last couple of years out there every single game. Hey, he got a day off last night, but he'll be back in there the next 10.
Damn
Don't
right.
you worry.
Damn
Man,
right.
bro, look, we need these bats to get hot, man.
Yeah.
These batting averages got to get a little bit higher.
Yes.
They do.
Hey.
Hey. Over the Mendoza line.
Oh, hey, Javi's still there. Not for long, though. Visit Dispo Dispensary today for deals too good to miss. Meet a team that curates an unbelievable atmosphere and shopping experience. Try the freshest inventory from Michigan's largest variety of products. Come through our stores or order on Dispo Dash today. Dispo Dispensary, DispoShops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Planet Fitness is home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full-body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all of this for only $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there's Planet Fitness close by there. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
What up, though, people? Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. Got a packed show. Talking Lions. We also got the legend Detroit News Rod Beard, who will be on, sports editor-in-chief, bringing his perspective as well as Detroit News perspective on all things Detroit sports. Going to talk a little bit of Pistons. We've got to update you guys on the search for the new president of basketball operations as well. But in this segment, we're talking a little bit of Detroit Lions, OTA.
Storylines, baby.
Let's go.
Storylines. We get to just think about what these rookies, what these young players, what they're doing out there on the football field. I want to ask you guys, I got a couple questions about OTAs, but first, just what storylines are you looking for? Is it the cornerback battle, quarterback competition, who's going to be starting? Is it the J-Mo Goff chemistry? What are you looking for, Flannel? I'm looking right at you, in OTAs in this offseason for the Lions.
I've got one which is going to bleed into my potential breakout player. Brad Holmes has drafted some defensive lineman pieces that are considered among his worst picks. And obviously he made another one with Mekhi Wingo this round, and they have John Kaminsky. Mm-hmm. I think this defensive line depth can be amongst the best in the NFL. And I just want to, with some of those guys actually playing positions like backups and rotational pieces and not being expected to be starters, I just want to see how all of those guys pan out and just what this defensive line can be, because when guys need breaks, when guys potentially get hurt, you've got guys waiting in the wings who I think are capable of at least filling in admirably for a game or two.
I have an idea of who you're talking about in terms of breakout, so I'm not going to ask you for more detail. Kool-Aid, what storylines are you looking out for?
Look, to the shock of absolutely nobody, I am hoping to see great things from word to Flannel.
The linebackers. Is it the linebackers,
Kool-Aid?
That's a good one.
Yeah, I am. And not just Jack Campbell, but I'm looking to see, who.
Jalen Reeves-Maybin, Anzalone, Barnes.
I'm looking to see who Anzalone is this year.
Rodrigo.
Every year, Anzalone takes a step up, and he seems to exceed everybody's expectations, even his supporters, except for Dan Campbell, who continues to say, no, this guy is the real deal. He is deserving of what we believe him to be. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing what these linebackers are going to be. That's the only position group, it seems like, that didn't get any type of help via the draft or free agency. So to me, that tells me that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are going to expect a lot from that position group. I can't wait to see what we get.
That's a good point. And I think their draft picks, some of their free agent moves in other spots on the defense should help that linebacker crew. And I'm going to go to KG and then JB, but first, Flannel, I'll read it because Shad216 JF. $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Shad. Detroit fans are too soft for sports. They already quitting on a season with over 100 games left. Detroit has to do better. I'm with you, and I hope you weren't directing that at Flannel, because we do have to be critical about our teams. Yeah. But there are people with Casey Mize last night. People were. I saw comments about cutting him and designating him for assignment. I'm like,
that's ridiculous.
Like pitchers. You're not gonna pitch you can't pitch like Tarek Skubal every single game.
Yeah, it's the perfect storm of covering a team in which we put our expectations out there. You said, though, also to expect the ups and downs, and since we also cover the team game by game, you're gonna have a little bit of mix going on here and there. So, and that's why I'm glad kind of each week we go and we heat check the expectations, and people still say, you know what? In the end, I kind of still expect them to kind of be somewhere in the mix. We did not expect the Guardians to be that good, though. So, yeah.
KG,
what up?
The storylines for camp.
Mine is actually going towards a member of the staff, and that is Mr. Aaron Glenn.
Wow.
To me, they went all in on defense this offseason. New coaches, new players, a lot of new pieces to play with. We assume that AG finally has everything he needs to get this defense where it needs to be. I'm not worried about the offense. The offense has been top 3 the last 3 years almost. Like, I'm worried about this defense. I want to see what he's going to bring and how he's going to utilize all these new pieces. They doubled up in the corner room. They added a lot of veteran talent to the corner room as well. You look at what they did on the defensive line. I'm interested to see how AG is going to play this and if he can get this defense to at least a top 15 defense.
Yeah, JB, Eric Allen's looking at Hendon Hooker, maybe a backup quarterback battle. Jack Campbell, Mitten made storyline Hooker motivates team. Okie Razor, Flannel is a Debbie Downer. Hey,
that's all right.
That's my guy.
That's okay.
What do you? Oh, that's the one I was looking for. John Effing Lord. Headline: Manu turns into Detroit's monster. Ooh, maybe not this year, but
I hope so.
That would be amazing if he did. JB, what's your storyline you're looking out for?
That would be nice if Manu actually turns into a monster, but I got to go with the kicking room, you know? Yeah, no, I'm joking.
I'm not mad at you.
I'm joking. Actually, I love all your guys' takes. I'm going to take another route. I'm going to go with the running backs, actually. Because just because I know last year it was kind of a two-headed monster that you were running with Montgomery and Gibbs out there. But now does Gibbs take that step forward, or are you still relying on Monty a little bit more for all this? And you're kind of moving Gibbs out there to that wide receiver spot. But keep in mind, you brought back Craig Reynolds as well too, and you just added Sione Vaki as a running back. So it's like, how are all these guys going to play out on the field, and who's going to get what time here? Are you getting catches here? Are you the running back? Like, it's a lot of questions that you got to kind of filter out and make an idea of.
I like that. How's Ben Johnson going to use all these creative or these weapons creatively? It's going to be fun. I'll go through 2 real quick, and then I want to ask your breakout player. I'm looking at that Goff JMO chemistry. Okay. I want to see them click, and it's time. Yeah. We want JMO to be that number 2 type of receiver, or at least that number 2 type of reliability, however they use him. I want to see that chemistry clicking on all cylinders. Also, I'm really interested to see what they do opposite Aiden Hutchinson at the other edge spot. What's James Houston look like? What's Marcus Davenport look like? Mekhi Wingo's been playing some edge, at least lining up across from the tackle. So I want to see what that's the one piece that although they went and gotten Davenport, they didn't really address that with someone we see right now as that's the future starter. We know who's starting there. I think they probably think it's Davenport, but to be determined. You brought up a breakout player. Who were you thinking on the defensive line?
Yes.
Is he jacked?
It's not who you think. Oh. Because I can't pick somebody who's shown me absolutely nothing. No disrespect to one Broderick Martin, but he had a very disappointing rookie year to me.
I was wrong.
My breakout player, and it's a very, very boring answer, I'll give you that, Josh Pascal.
I knew you was going to say Josh.
I'm channeling Jeff Iafredi, who I used to do a show with. He loved him some Josh Pascal, and I gave him some crap about it from time to time. But you know what? I'm channeling him today now that I'm in his seat. However, here's why. Josh Pascal, he's a guy whose career has been hampered by injuries. Mm-hmm. And that could lead to him maybe being injury prone, but I choose, because it fits my narrative, this is going to be the year where he plays 17 games. He's only played 692 snaps in his first 2 seasons combined, which is nothing, by the way. And here's something that he showed me last year that I think is gonna help him get on the field. He showed me 2 things. 1, last season, positional versatility. He played 225 snaps as an outside edge, 110 over tackle, and 62 in the B gap. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to the Lions defensive line, you've got Aiden Hutchinson, who's been remarkably great and durable. Everybody else, James Houston only played 2 games last year, Davenport 4, Aleem 13, and Reeder 14. Somebody is probably going to miss a couple of games, just going by past history, just going by the NFL. And if you're Josh Pascal, if Aleem McNeil misses a game, you can shuffle things around and put him inside. If Marcus Davenport misses a game, which he probably will because he always does, you could put Josh Pascal with more edge rushing snaps or over tackle. And also when it comes to Josh Pascal, he was one of the many players last year on the Detroit Lions defense that when you look at their PFF grade, it skewed really high to his run defense grade. And why is that important? Because a lot of Detroit Lions players did last year. You look at it for Jack Campbell, Brian Branch, Derek Barnes, Aleem, Kirby Joseph, and John Kaminsky, who are all going to be on the team this year. They all had exceptionally high run defense grades when it comes to PFF as opposed to other aspects of their game. What did that lead to? The Detroit Lions being the number 2 rush defense in the NFL. And that was considered a strength of Josh Paschal's coming out of college. And oh, by the way, Josh Paschal, despite only playing 12 games last year, was 4th on the team, tied for 4th on the team in tackles for loss with 5. So that's kind of what I believe will get him on the field, because he's shown the ability to stop the run. And I think the Lions want to continue their dominant run defense, and he'll be able to spell whoever, and he'll be able to just give people a blow from time to time if the defensive line stays healthy. And this is the year, I believe, with Josh Paschal playing more games, I believe he will have between 3 and 5 sacks. He's never been a big sack guy, even in college, but this is the year where he puts it together and plays dominant against the run on a limited basis, but still, and actually gets some sacks. Give me Josh Paschal as my breakout player.
He had 2 last year, correct?
He had 1. He had 2 his rookie year.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, yes. It's crazy. I do like the Josh Paschal pick because he is kind of the forgotten man when you think about it. We always bring up Marcus Davenport. We always bring up James Houston. We always forget about Josh Paschal. And yes, he's had injury issues. I mean, the man had foot cancer, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
But we expect a lot out of him. If he can improve in the pass rush, we already know he's good in the run. If he can improve that pass rush, definitely I'd be looking out for him this year.
He had that huge tackle for loss against the Chiefs in week 1. We're like, oh, this is the year. You're right. Jeff was all about that. And I thought he was going to be much more of a contributor last year. He showed flashes, but it's time, Josh Paschal.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Second
the type
round
of
pick.
Yeah, right? We probably only have time for one more. Does anyone, before Rod comes on, and JB cut me off or cut us off whenever he does, and you guys have a breakout player you're looking forward to watching, other than Jack Campbell?
One Jack Campbell. I'm very intrigued, though, with Aleem McNeil contract bump this season. I am really intrigued to see what he's going to bring. Obviously, I wouldn't be a breakout player, but I'm looking to see how high is Aleem McNeil's ceiling this season. I really am. But Jack Campbell, obviously.
Do you guys think so Jack and J-Mo and Aleem weren't on that top 25 under 25 list we went through last year? Are those 3 guys how should I phrase? We obviously want to see them on that list next year. I think all 3 will still be under 25, but do you expect to see those 3, or which one of those 3 on a top 25 under 25 list? J-Mo, Aleem McNeil, or Jack Campbell?
Brian Branch.
Yeah, I was about to say Branch.
Brian Branch.
There you go.
Before all of those guys. Maybe J-Mo if he has the type of year that I expect him to have, but definitely Brian Branch is next up. No question about it.
Yeah, I was going to agree. And to answer your question, not to be hater Sam, I think none of them. And that's okay, by the way. Yeah. They already have 5.
Right.
I think none of those.
That's a good point.
But damn, Sam.
But it will be Brian Branch.
Hey, of the 3, I believe in Brian Branch. Yes,
he arguably could have been there this year.
You know, real quick, the thing is, all 5 of the ones on the list now will be under 25 next year too.
Ooh,
that's insane. That's insane.
Add another 2 players to that, maybe 7, 8 next year.
Whew, have mercy.
Brad Holmes' energy is a real thing. Well, look, we got the legend, Detroit News Rod Beard. We have a couple segments with the GOAT on the way. First, I got to tell you guys, though, about Woodward Sports Network. The best part of it is what you guys do to support us, so we appreciate you all greatly, especially kicking off the day with Wake Up Woodward from 8 to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday. Guys know Flannel, Rotor, KG, JB, Justin, myself, Kool-Aid. And we appreciate you guys every single day for checking in with the crew. But after us, I'm hoping you guys are tapping in with Big D Energy from 11 to 1, hosted by 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty alongside his co-host, Golden Voice, Neil Rule. After that, it's Armani and Edwards with Maz from 2 to 4, Monday through Friday. The lovable radio legend Tom Mazaway with University of Michigan legend and former NFL wide receiver Brendan Edwards and the Detroit King of Media, Ryan Romani. And after that, in the day with the Woodward Heavyweights from 5 to 7. The big fellas, Easy and Spencer, they are bringing you the biggest interviews, the biggest breakdowns, and the biggest laughs. Thank you guys for making Woodward Sports the #1 digital sports network. We appreciate you.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, through all the price increases, inflation, all that, hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports. We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports. We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Glorious.
Ice water bubble has pre-roll now has diamonds in it, everybody. Look, they are constantly pushing to create the best cannabis experience just for you. The perfect boost comes from the added touch of pure THC diamond dust, allowing flowers with only the highest terps, making the best, hey, you know what, even better. Glorious Cannabis, check them out at your local retailer, or you can always check them out online at gloriouscannabis.com.
What up, though, people? Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. Every single time I hear JB Smooth say diamonds in it, every single time I think about Dave Chappelle.
It makes your dookie twinkle.
Chocolate.
Make your dookie twinkle.
It's doodle, baby.
Hey. Well, hey, welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys for choosing to kick off the day with the Woo crew. We got everybody in the building today. Hey, and now we are joined by the legend, Detroit News, Rod Beard. He is sports editor-in-chief of the Detroit News. Welcome to the show, brother.
Rod!
Gentlemen, it must be Wednesday. That's how we know.
Let's go. It is a Wednesday. Hey, listen, Rod, we were talking about OTAs. Obviously, it's probably the biggest news in sports right now with the Tigers kind of But we were talking about what players we are hoping to really kind of keep a keen eye on through OTAs as well as any breakout players. What are some of yours?
No, I'm going to agree with the Aleem McNeil. I think that's a big one because it means their defensive line will have improved that much. And you want to see another bookend opposite Aiden Hutchinson. But if Aleem McNeil is dominating that middle, that means something good is happening. And I'll go with you also on Brian Branch, that's a guy, somebody in that secondary has to be a standout. And if it's not Melifonwu, you want to see something like Brian Branch taking that next step too.
Awesome, Rod. I'm going to take a quick pivot away from the Lions real quick. We had a conversation yesterday on rivalries in college football, really college sports. And I just want to ask you, since you've seen a couple generations, seen a couple generations of different rivalries through, especially Michigan, Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, is the transfer portal and some of these new college football rules, is that killing rivalries? Like, is this the beginning of the end of true rivalries?
We've already reached the end of true rivalries because they're having to protect them with all of this transition between conferences where in basketball, I think it's Michigan and Michigan State is the only protected one. Obviously in football, you're going to protect Michigan, Ohio State, but with adding 94 teams to the Big Ten, now you're just going to have, Michigan, USC, is that going to be a rivalry? No, it takes years to build up a rivalry and you need a lot of tough games. I think that part's already done. We're only going to see a handful of these anymore with conference expansion and the transfer portal. Mangum going from Michigan State to Michigan.
Right.
Like that never, ever happened. It just didn't. You didn't even. Yes, it's already done. We're already at end of days in terms of the rivalries and the spirit that they had in years past.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think while it might last longer or fans may acknowledge it, whenever Michigan State play or Michigan, Ohio State play, do you believe that it has to start with the players and that team on the field? Like you just mentioned, the Michigan State transfer trade. Like to have a true rivalry, it's got to be that sort of bitter / respected hate on the field with the players first to bleed into the fans?
No. It starts with the fans. It starts with the fans. When you're in high school and your good buddy goes to state and you go to Michigan, it starts there. And it only gets accelerated by what happens on the field or off the field. That's what leads to it. It's the people buying the tickets. It's not necessarily because that game is going to be good in and of itself. It is just the rivalry stoking everything. So I think that's what's going to be. We'll still see that. But, I mean, you're going to see USC and UCLA playing for potentially going to the Big Ten championship. Like, what is that? That sentence that's a Mad Lib sentence. That doesn't even make sense. USC and UCLA for the Big Ten, a spot in the Big Ten. No, all of that stuff is done. And we've known this. The NCAA has always been about money. And that's what this is. And if the rivalries have to die because of, as a byproduct of this, then so be it. That's just where we are right now.
Man.
Yes. Rod, I wanted to pivot to the Detroit Tigers, even though it's not my favorite thing to talk about right now, but we got to do it. It's no secret that they haven't been playing well lately. They've been on a rough stretch. At this point of the season, as it relates to this season's expectations, what is your level of panic or lack thereof?
They're around 500, which is where they kind of need to be. We talked about it before. This part of the season, they can't just tank out. They can't just be completely out of it in 10, 20 games under 500. That's where they can't be. They're still in it. The bats can heat up in the summer. Possible. The pitching has already been good. The batting just has to catch up to it, that you've got to be able to score runs. And it's not just a flash in the pan. You get 13 hits here, or you put a Big Ten spot on the board. It's not that. It needs to be consistent throughout the summer, where you're getting 4 or 5 runs and getting some run support for your pitchers when they're coming out and giving you good outings.
And Rod, I want to ask one more question. This is about the Lions. If you're, say, a member of the Lions coaching staff, what is something you can tangibly take away from OTAs in general?
Just the want to, and that they're not resting on what they did last year. OTAs are OTAs. You're not going to be at full strength and full speed. Certainly the starters are going to kind of take it easy right now, but you just want to see that they have that drive and that same hunger that they did last year, that they want to prove something. That last year people had anointed them that they're going to win the division. You got to still go out and prove that. Now it's a bigger anointing where people are saying that they should be back in the NFC Championship and maybe even in the Super Bowl. With that weight of expectation and that pressure on you, how do you handle that? Do you still go about your business the same way with that same hunger that you had in previous years when you were trying to prove something? Now you have to back up everything that you did. Can you get to that point?
Man, listen, we got to find a way how to just bottle up about 50% of whatever the Lions have been doing and share that with the Pistons as well. Hey, Rod, as always, it's awesome having you on. And guess what? We got you for one more segment right after this break. But first, let me tell you all about Lady Jane's. Something pretty awesome, just like Mr. Rod Beard. Awesome is when a guy can be a guy and get an amazing haircut. That is Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Stop in, sit back, and relax. And let one of Lady Jane's talented hairstylists make you look and feel great. Walk in anytime, 7 days a week. That's Lady Jane's, and it is wicked awesome.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians, they take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. That's 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone with you as long as needed because it is technology backed by people. Your safety and security, it deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. All you got to do is call this number right here, 1-800-STAY-OUT. Once again, that number is 1-800-STAY-OUT. What up, though, people? Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys for choosing to kick off the morning with the Woo Crew. You could be anywhere else, but you're right here.
Damn
we
right.
got the whole five. We got Justin, KG in the sound booth, Woodward Sports MVP, JBSMOOOOOV in the TD booth. Got Flannel Sam. It's a Matthew Broder. It's your boy Detroit Kool-Aid as well. But right now, we got to get the drum roll going for our esteemed guest, Mr. Rod Beard. You guys can help me out here? Mr. Rod. Hey, yo! Shout out and welcome to the legend, Detroit News, Rod Beard. Brother, as always, how are you doing? Again. And got to get some Rod's thoughts.
It is a wonderful Wednesday. My thought is just on the conference finals and Minnesota able to climb the mountain and beat the Denver Nuggets. That was just a really exciting series to watch all the way through and to see that they figured it out. And for Pistons fans, maybe it means you're going to have to wait a little bit longer to get a potential president of basketball operations, but the basketball is still good, and that's the most important part here. That Anthony Edwards, we knew coming off the World Championships that he was going to have a big year, but this is a huge year for him that even when he's not playing well, the Timberwolves are figuring it out.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? The playoffs, we kind of opened up the show with a little bit of NBA playoffs conversation as well. And it's pretty cool to kind of see these new faces in these new places kind of doing some big things right now on this landscape. It feels like the face of the NBA is starting to change. And we were talking about Jason Tatum this morning and just kind of how much his legacy could be boosted by winning a championship and kind of having this air where he calls himself the next face of the league. That would be a huge boost to that, as well as, we mentioned Luka Doncic, and Broder brought up an interesting one as well. Kyrie Irving winning a championship outside the shadow of LeBron James, seemingly right now at a time where he's looking like a much better teammate. But I know we want our Detroit Pistons someday soon, Rod, to get back to the NBA playoffs. I need it, Rod. I need it. Detroit fans need it. They deserve it more than anything. And you mentioned something about the president of basketball operations search of the Detroit Pistons. Obviously, Tim Connolly is going to be your option 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If there's an option, that's who you want. There have been some reports that he's probably going to turn down the job when the Pistons have the opportunity to be able to interview him. But you know what? Never say never. You got Tom Gores as an owner. If there's one thing he's been able to do that you like out of an NBA owner, it's open up that pocketbook and try and make something work. Whether you look in hindsight and say, you know what, that was the right deal or not, you can look and see where he's gone out there to get SVG, to get a Monty Williams, even get a Dwayne Casey coming off of winning coach of the year and open up the checkbook and saying, what is it going to take to get this done? If he can do that with a Tim Connolly, you're talking about that is the win of wins.
Right, but what's that number look like, though? And here's one thing. Make sure people understand. It doesn't count against the cap. It's just money at the end of the day.
Yep.
And if you're talking about a billionaire owner, then yeah, he has it, but you want to get this right. If you're changing the structure and you're having your first president of basketball operations since Stan Van Gundy, you want to make sure you get this right because a lot of these things just haven't worked out. The structure hasn't worked out. The roster hasn't worked out. It's so many things that you need to fix in this. And you know that the draft isn't going to help you necessarily unless you do some other things right. And I'll stand by what I was saying before, that just the timing to me suggests you're walking into one of two doors. Either you're going to say you're going to clean house and everybody's gone and you're bringing in a new president with a new GM and everything else. That would assume that you have drafted either who you wanted, who was the no-brainer in that, or you know that you're trading this pick. And you maybe you want Trey Weaver or whoever to do that before you clean house. If that's the case and that's what they're choosing to do, I can see it. I just don't know how much you're going to have to pay one of these high-level, elite-level, or targeted and coveted president options to do it. And then do they want to come here? If you're Tim Connolly and you just led Minnesota to maybe the NBA Finals or this far, don't you want to finish the deal? Are you doing this for money? Did you leave Denver to go to Minnesota for money? What are their motivations and what are they kind of looking for? I think that's the first thing you have to look at in these discussions.
Yeah, and I know Trajan Langdon. That's a name we discussed a little bit earlier in the week on this show. That's a name that's kind of moved to the top of the potentials list as it relates to the search for a president of basketball operations. And he has a really good history. He's worked with some really good regimes, San Antonio, as well as his work with the Brooklyn Nets, and now with the New Orleans Pelicans as well, and had a hand with Zion, Brandon Ingram in this kind of Pelicans team that went from 30 wins to high 40s. So he has a pretty good track record, and it was a guy that I appreciated the Pistons kind of being involved with, that name being linked to. Obviously, the information came out that his agent during his playing days was Arn Tellem. But you know what? I'm not against an agent. I've said this before, being able to utilize his connections to better what he can do for the organization. You just want to see these things work out. And so I kind of was looking at the free agents that were there. You hear about the different draft picks that are mocked to the Pistons, kind of having some connections. And you know what? I'm not necessarily against the idea of a Trajan Langdon. There was someone online, and I feel bad that I forgot the @ I will try and make sure I go back and credit later. But it was in one of our comments. They said, wouldn't Trajan Langdon make you feel a little bit more comfortable because of the connection he has with Arn Tellem? Maybe Arn Tellem will be in a position to better trust this individual who has a pretty good track record, has worked his way up to the position he has right now, and has some wins underneath his belt.
Possible. I mean, but if you're bringing Trajan Langdon, I'm going to say, hey, make sure when you travel over here, bring Brandon Ingram with you and see if you can bring CJ too. You just want somebody who's connected and who can get stuff done and who understands the structure of what you're trying to do and what good basketball looks like. And that can be any of these candidates that we've talked about, but you just want to make sure that you get this one right. It's not, if you have all of this turnover in the roster, which we've seen, and if they choose to go with a new GM and they choose to go with the president, like, you're completely clean in house. And that's not even starting a discussion about if you keep Monty Williams around. You're completely clean in house with everything. We thought Troy was going down to the studs when he came in. This would be an even deeper. This is like napalm the whole thing and start from
excavation.
Scratch. Right. This is just buy some land and just start building on it completely. I don't know if you can. And here's the caveat. I don't know if you can convince Cade, if you're starting over that way, that there's going to be a winning culture here while he's in even this next contract. If you're talking about an extension there, I don't know if you can convince him of that, because it's everything that's completely different. You have to have a lot of trust from Cade to really say, because I don't think it's going to be about the money for Cade. I think it's really going to be like, do right by me. Just let's make this thing work. And I don't know. I think you've got to be very, very careful about how you handle this. There needs to be some level of continuity. And we've talked about whether Troy Weaver stays or whether Dwayne Casey stays and maybe he moves into that president role. I think you need something that says that is familiar to Cade, because if you clear everything out, why does he want to stay?
That's a great point. That's a great point.
Well, speaking of which, I know you mentioned Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum and passing earlier on, and obviously that's the route that I would hope that the Pistons can take, get an all-star. However, is there any role player type out there who you think would be a really nice fit next to Cade and could help move the needle with this team as early as next year, whether you get an all-star or you don't?
There probably is, but I don't care.
Fair enough.
That's not the assignment. That is part of the assignment, but the assignment is go get an all-star. Like, you're going to fill that in after you get your all-star caliber guy. But they've tried that. We've seen Boyan. We've seen all of the other pieces that they brought in. Fontecchio can be the role guy. They might have those guys on the roster, but the assignment is go get an all-star. because he can't do it alone. He can't. We're counting on Ivy, Duran, Stewart. We're counting on those guys to be major contributors. Maybe at the end of the day, they end up just being those role players. But you need to start cultivating those other pieces around Cade. Because I don't know. I have not talked to Cade. I haven't talked to any of his people. I don't know. But I don't want people to feel this comfort that saying he's going to come back because he's going to get a max contract. That's not a guarantee out here in these streets. It's just not, because if you're saying everything is going to be different, Cade wants to win. Cade, that's a winner. That dude is a winner from all of his AAU days and coming up. He wants to be a winner. And if you're telling him that, hey, it's going to be a few more years because we're not only starting over with this roster, but we're starting over with the front office. Again, I have no inside information and no intel, but just from a logical standpoint, I think that's a more difficult sell than you want it to be.
That's a really, really, really good deduction as well, Rod. And it's kind of a perfect segue because next on my notes here are some of the players that will be available via free agency, or some of the players that have been identified as disgruntled that the Detroit Pistons could find themselves kind of in a mix for, especially when you talk about if Trajan Langdon finds his way here, or the connections that they may have to like Excel Sports, where Arntellem's son works right now. One of the intriguing things of the summer for me is the fact that both Kay Cunningham and Brandon Ingram share the same agency with Excel Sports. So it'll be interesting to see what leeway or lead the Pistons have at all in being able to find themselves land a player like that. But as I kind of look down the list of free agents, one guy that I've talked about before on this show, but we always kind of pencil Jalen Duren in as that center, is Nick Claxton. Obviously, he's going to command, they're saying, maybe about $20 million a year, which is a big pay bump for him. But the big man, you talk about the defensive chops. They're saying
how much?
They're saying that guy can get as much as $20 million a season. I'm glad to throw out some numbers from some of these other players as well, too. I'm serious, because it begs these kind of questions. Because do you go that way? They need a big man that can play.
No.
Or do you go the Andre Drummond route? Or do you go the Andre Drummond route?
Absolutely
cheaper, walking double steal. It would be much cheaper, willing to play a role at this point in time, can play in a pick and roll. Because they have to do these things. Either Duren is that guy at this point in his career. He hasn't shown the defensive instinct or the defensive chops. And that's a real thing. These other centers, both Andre Drummond and Nick Claxton, their defensive ratings, as well as their stocks, their steals plus blocks, those are real things. Their ability to go out there and rebound, those are real things. Their ability to play in the paint defensively, especially with Nick Claxton, those are real things. And so I don't believe that it is just as easy to dismiss certain players, especially like Andre Drummond. I know people hate the retreads, but this is what's presented to us this offseason. And Andre Drummond, one of those connected to Tellem as well.
Hey, let us do some. I haven't looked at Dre's numbers, but from the eye test and kind of what he's been productive still, and I think the reason that people didn't like him when he was here in his last little stint here was because they felt like he was a max guy who wanted to be something else. And he wanted to, he didn't have a defined role, or he didn't stick to his defined role. Let's say it that way. That if he understands who he is and looking for from him, he can be productive. Dre, 79 games, 8.4 points, 9 rebounds. 9 rebounds?
Yeah, it's not good enough.
9 rebounds. That for a backup? That's yes. 3.4 mil. If you can get Dre for 4 or 5 mil, yes, go do it. Yep. And that sounds crazy. That sounds crazy to say out loud, but he is a vet. I think he's matured in the time since he's been gone, and I think he understands what he needs to do.
Yeah,
and time in Brooklyn, time in Philly. Even the time with the Lakers, he's bounced around so much. I think he would like to come back home. I'll call Detroit home.
Yep. He has spoken, Rod, I don't mean to cut you off, but he has spoken openly about that as well. He's kind of put out there the fact that he was really immature, younger, kind of earlier in his career, really got some humble pie, throughout this experience since he left Detroit, and he still calls Detroit home. You know, his kid is still here. He still does a lot of things here in the summer. His home is still here as well. Got the opportunity to talk to him kind of off the record as well. That's a reunion that I would keep an eye on. And when you're talking about a budget versus going out there and making an absolute splash on a guy like Nick Claxton, it's just like, whoa, Pistons got some decisions to make to be able to kind of plug a few of these needs that they have. But then you're looking at guys as well like a Malik Monk or a Bruce Brown. Malik Monk is talking about going out there and getting $25 million a year. What is going on in the free agency market? You go down the list, obviously there's an option between Brandon Ingram or Patrick Williams. Do you want to spend the money? Do you want to try and pick up a more valuable, kind of a lower valued piece in like a Patrick Williams, as well as Tobias Harris or Kelly Oubre? There are options for the Pistons, but it really kind of depends on what they believe this roster to be. Is Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, are these guys playing roles, or are these the guys that you believe can take the next step with a Cade Cunningham? Obviously, I'm with you. If you can get a Brandon Ingram, if you can get an all-star level player, you have to make that happen, which influences so much for me as it relates to the Detroit Pistons draft strategy as well. Obviously, to sit down and break down the top candidates right now, I don't know how much that does or doesn't help the Detroit Pistons, but in terms of players they need those three-point shooters. I'm seeing a couple other defensive-minded guards that are mocked to the Pistons, but they have absolute dud from behind the arc, like Stephen Castle. I like what he brings defensively, 6'6" build and everything, but I believe that we saw that already with Asar Thompson. You can't really run that back again. You got to get Cade Cunningham the ability to run out there with lineups to be able to have shooters around him, like a Simone Fontecchio on one wing and like a Dalton Connect or a Reed Shepherd on the other. If you can trade that first pick and utilize it to either trade back or trade back into the first round, you're looking at a guy like Dalton Connect who's supposed to go, in all the mocks that I'm seeing, somewhere between 11 and 15. I believe that's good value for a 6'6" guy who has some sneaky athleticism, some good handles. He leaves room to desire as it relates to his defense, but as it relates to his shooting, off movement, off the curl, behind the arc, 5 steps behind the arc, in the mid-range, I really like what he brings to the table.
No, and I think that's the case. Is you can't necessarily look at fit and say you've got to have all of these things. You just you need shooters. Absolutely need shooters. That is number one. Give me the best shooter in the draft. If you're going to use that pick or trade back and do whatever, I need the best shooter in the draft. I don't care about defense. I don't care about anything else. You're losing games because you're not scoring enough. We saw that when Boyan was here and he brought some three-point shooting efficiency, things sort of started to turn. They looked okay. But Cade, it's not about whether you're a good team. You gotta score. You just have to. That's how this works.
We saw it play out already. They don't need any more of those kind of try-hard guys. They need players that can go out there and shoot 40% from behind the arc and catch and shoot opportunities.
There you go.
They need guys that can go out there and be effective and efficient playmakers, because we know that Cade Cunningham is going to get double-teamed. They're going to hedge triple teams his way. Those are the types of players we need. And that's why, hey, look, guys, go out there, look at the tape on Dalton Connect. You'll see instantly people think he's just a three-point shooter, but he has a little bit more wiggle to his game than that. And you know what he does, Rod? We've talked about this now for 2 years. Dalton Connect actually cuts. He actually cuts to the rim. He actually fills in the dead space. If his defender turns his head and takes a step towards the ball, Dalton Connect, guess what he does? He cuts right behind him. He moves. He'll dunk on you, too, if you fall asleep on him. I really like what he brings to the table. It's very similar to me, what Simone Fontecchio brings to the table as well. I really do like it. But any last words, you guys?
I'm so glad you mentioned Stephon Castle as an absolute no. And I was a guy who liked UConn, but I can't have another guy who can't shoot.
Can't have it. Under 30%, man. Yeah. You can't do that again. You can't. Yeah. We see this with Asar Thompson. I believe you can hide one of those players within your starting lineup or within your main rotation. I don't know how you do it in this NBA with two players like that, no matter how good the defense is.
Just need Asar Thompson's three-point shooting percentage to, at minimum, start with a 2 and not a 1.
Yep. But the Pistons, I think the biggest thing here, they have to decide beyond Cade Cunningham, are these young players role pieces, trade assets, or are these the pillars of your future? Because, Rod, you're exactly right. How long does Cade Cunningham just sit around and wait for things to work themselves out? He's a winner. He wants to win. I'll speak even more authoritatively on that having certain connections. This guy wants to win. And it was cool at the press conference when they asked him, do you foresee yourself having some type of say-so in what goes down this summer? He said, yeah, I would like to see that happen. So, so it'll be interesting to see how this summer goes. But with Arn Tellem, maybe the Tellem way might be the way. He's connected to some big names this offseason. Mm-hmm. And if he can use his sway and his connections to be able to make this thing happen, hey, let's go. Let's go. But Rod, thank you as always for giving us your time. Sports editor-in-chief from the Detroit News. Thank you, brother.
All right. Take care, guys. We'll see you next
Thanks,
time.
Rod.
Thank you, Rod.
Thank you, Rod.
Hey. Go. Where are we going, JB? Swiss? Hey, let's go to Swiss. Now more than ever, it is critical for you to have your insurance reviewed. Swiss Insurance will make sure your carrier is not slipping in any extra fees or raising the deductibles. Call Mark at Swiss Insurance today, 313-530-1698, or visit them online, swissins.com, and tell them that Woodward Sports sent you.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
And with the first pick in the 2024 Media Draft, Detroit selects Woodward Sports. Thank you for making us the #1 digital network in Detroit.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! Congratulations to the real Coach of the Year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
Did somebody say merch?
Merch.
Let me tell you right now, I hope you're tired of wearing the same old Detroit sports merch, because it's a new era in sports wearables with new designs, amazing apparel, and the ultimate swag. Do yourself a favor, go to woodwardsports.com, click on that shop tab. We have dropping new designs every single week, but I got to tell you about the ones we got up on screen right here, right now. We got the Tiger sweatshirts. You also know Kool-Aid has about 4 or 5 of these in his closet already. The Welcome to Detroit t-shirts. And you can't forget about the Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes election t-shirts, hoodies, even on hats as well, too. OTA starts tomorrow. Then this training camp. You know you're going to be down there, so why not go down there and rep Woodward Sports. WoodwardSports.com. Click on that shop tab.
Hey, you know what? I'm sitting here looking at the chat family right now. Shout out to Stephen Baffy. He said, I just need the preseason to be here already. Hey, you know what? Shout out to you for looking forward to Detroit Pistons preseason, man. You are a real one. Now, I'm assuming it's the Detroit Lions. It's got to be the Detroit Lions, man. And you know what? You have one here, Justin Rogers of the Detroit News. Shout out to Detroit News again. We just had Rod Beard on.
That's why I put it right after Rod's section. I was like,
let's go.
Let's highlight the news this morning.
Let's go. Let's rock.
Yeah. So Justin Rogers, he wrote an article on Monday, or published an article on Monday, talking about 5 players with contract extensions coming up, 4 of which need to be figured out. They're going into the last year of their contract. And the 5th, who Flannel's a fan of this player, has 2 more years left on his contract, but is in this consideration because we just saw what happened with Penei, Amon-Ra, and Jared Goff. So Justin Rogers wrote Ali McNeil, Taylor Decker, Carlton Davis, Ife Melifonwu, and Aiden Hutchinson. Of those five, How do you think the Detroit Lions, Brad Holmes, Mike Disner, how should they look at prioritizing contract extensions?
You probably know where I'm going with this.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be Aiden Hutchinson first.
No.
Uh-huh.
What?
No?
No.
He's the number one priority.
No, I meant that as like I knew that's where he was going with it. Like obviously.
Yeah, to the shock of absolutely no one. Right. Who's my favorite Lions player? Aiden Hutchinson. Okay, let's move on from that. But I'm looking at some of the other guys. I'm looking at Carlton Davis as somebody who might be here a year. Taylor Decker as somebody you could let walk. Aleem McNeil as a borderline franchise cornerstone, but there could be a number where you don't want to re-sign him as much as I would hate it. And then I'm looking at Ife Melifonwu. He had a really great year last year. It wasn't just the end. He had a great year, but there's safety room. They've got some players. I just think with Aiden Hutchinson, he's going to show this season. I already believe that he's every bit the franchise cornerstone as like a Panay and an Amon-Ra, but I think Aiden Hutchinson will kind of make that a unanimous opinion. And this is the year for him to do it because you look at the way, and I know it's not linear, the way that Amon-Ra's career trajectory went. Panay's, they both had good rookie years. They both vastly improved in their second year. Panay Sewell became a Pro Bowler and Amon-Ra St. Brown became a 1,000-yard guy. And then in their third years, they became first-team All-Pros. I think Aiden Hutchinson is about to have that kind of leap, going from a really good rookie year where he had some growing pains, particularly over pursuing in the beginning of the season, to a second year where he had double-digit sacks and 3 in the playoffs, to a third year where he's fighting for an all-pro spot. And I think at that point, there's no denying that Aiden Hutchinson is somebody whose deal will need to get done in the next offseason before he gets to his contract year. So give me Aiden Hutchinson because out of all these guys, he's the only one that I consider a no-doubt franchise cornerstone.
Yeah, hard to disagree with that too. In the edge position, like quarterbacks, like wide receivers, the cost keeps going up and up and up. Like it's already being talked about that he'll be a $30 million per year plus guy. That's just going to keep raising. The longer you wait, that number gets higher. Here's some other facts to just frame the conversation before I come over to UKG. Aleem McNeil right now, it's just about guaranteed that he's going to at least get 15 mil per year. If he plays well, he could push the 20 million per year plus mark. Taylor Decker, he said it already had some early conversations with the team this offseason about a contract before his fourth year. Justin Rogers in his article threw out not a 4-year extension, but maybe in the 3-year, $45-50 million range. So 16-17 mil a year. And depending on what we see, maybe this is why Gio Manu is a guy to look out for in OTAs. How long is it going to take if he's that next left tackle? Carlton Davis, you're right. We did just reinforce our secondary. In the article, Justin talks about a Davis, Terry, and Arnold being like a foundation for a pretty nasty secondary. Maybe Rakestraw takes that spot, though, or someone else. Amik Robertson comes alive. And lastly, Ife Melifonwu, for all the versatility and as good as he's played, what may fall into his favor for the Lions, the safety position isn't getting paid like it. Well, it isn't rising as fast as the others. So with a little bit of injury concerns, it could be only between a $6 to $8 million a year contract. So factor that all in now. How would you go about, Kool-Aid, these contract situations? Or what do you have to say?
No, I was going to kick it over to KG real quick, but Aleem McNeil continues to be the most intriguing player to me because a contract year bump is a real thing. We've seen it. 100%. But Aleem McNeil strikes me as one of those players who, though you may see a bump in what he does this season, I don't think that it's just for the contract. He strikes me as a real dude, and that's where it gets interesting for me. Do you have to give him the contract if this guy shows you exactly what his, some progress over last year when he was already what a lot of us would call to be a monster or a beast? But KG, how's this list looking to you, brother?
Well, Hutch, number one, is a non-negotiable. You have to try to work on an extension with him next year. But I'm looking at everybody else. Aleem, as much as I would love to keep him, I just don't know, especially if he ends up playing well and pushes his value up to that $20 million mark. I don't know if the Lions are willing to sign him to that much. You look at DJ Reader, they drafted Mekhi Wingo, and we possibly expect Broderick Martin to finally make an impact. They have some stuff in that room already, and if Aleem does have a good year, I would love to keep him, but I just don't know if they're willing to pay that price. One name that I am looking at that's very interesting on this list is Carlton Davis, because if you look at Carlton Davis, he's only 27 years old. If he comes out and he plays well this year in combination with all the new additions that they've made in that secondary room, I can definitely see him getting possibly an extension. only being 27, he's played on the big stage. He brings a veteran experience to this room. And if he can hold down that number one, that's somebody that I would look to. Also, Ife Melifonwu, I wouldn't be mad if they kept him as well, because he will probably end up being on the cheaper side even if he does ball out. So those are the two that I would look at out of this list. Besides Hutch, obviously, you have to re-sign Hutch.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, I was
no-brainer.
I was gonna say that if I had a second choice, it would be Ife Melifonwu, and you mentioned it
I thought you were gonna say Hutch again.
Hey, Hutch one and
if
Hutch
we don't
two.
sign Hutch, it's got to be Hutch.
But no, if you made a good point about safety contracts, it's not like they're getting these unaffordable type of potentially franchise crippling contracts, like even you see from wide receivers and offensive linemen. Although I don't think Penei and Amon-Ra are going to be franchise crippling. You understand what I mean? And Ife, he's the one guy out of the three that may be I don't want to say non-negotiable because you still got Branch and you still got Kirby, but I value Ife personally way over, say, a Kirby Joseph. I think he's a much better player and more versatile, and I think that if there's somebody that you're going to let walk, it would be Kirby and not Ife.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, do you guys really think that there's a chance that they could let go of Taylor Decker? Because when you look at where they picked Giovanni Manu, if they give him a year of development to step into that role, I think he's another person that, I don't know if you're willing to pay, that much for a little bit of a relatively older player, and especially somebody that you can probably fill that spot. How do y'all feel about them possibly letting go of Taylor Decker?
I think it's inevitable.
Yes.
I think there's two players on this list that it's inevitable for. One is Taylor Decker, and the other is Carlton Davis. Just given what they've invested in terms of draft capital in young corners. I think Carlton Davis is more... I think of him more as a bridge this year, as somebody who helped a team that's on their Super Bowl window this year improve their secondary right away, but I don't necessarily see him as a long-term solution. But as to Taylor Decker, I think it's 100% inevitable.
And Carlton Davis is already getting paid like a top 10 cornerback already.
Yeah.
So if he plays well, we're talking about him like a L'Jarius Sneed contract, all the pushback that we gave to L'Jarius Sneed. But you ask, I haven't checked if Jeff Olson's in the chat, our resident Bucks fan, or any of the Bucks chats or their podcasts. But you say when he's on, he's as good as anyone in the league, especially big body receivers, especially guys like Keenan Allen and Christian Watson, like some players we're going to see, Justin Jefferson, we're going to see coming up in the NFC North. Actually, to be determined, Justin Jefferson. Yeah. One of the things we're talking about tomorrow, I already have ready, some of these holdout possibilities with players around the league at positions that the Lions just locked up. Those numbers are going up, and those guys aren't showing up. But on the Decker conversation, and I'm going to put Decker and Hutch in a similar bucket where the Lions haven't clearly drafted the insurance to those two. Like, we think Giovanni Manu is going to be that future left tackle, but he's going to require a lot of development. I don't know if he can do that in 1 year. Does Taylor Decker have the market where you got to pay him before the year, or his price goes up after the season or whatever? But I think an extension, a shorter term extension, I don't know about 3 years. That feels long to me. And that would be then 4 years of Giovanni's development. But if you can find some way to tack on a year or two, help the salary cap in those 2 years, push some of that cap hit out, I think he's a guy that is not only well respected with the team and is trusted by Goff and that offensive line, but he's been here through the pain, through the trouble. Like, and I'm not leading towards a hometown discount, but I'm leaning towards of if you're going to give anyone a little extra leeway who earned, a 2-year extension versus just letting him walk, maybe that's something you do with Taylor Decker at the left tackle position, the blind side of Jared Goff. Like, you got to do whatever it takes to make that offensive line as good as possible. If that's Taylor Decker, you got to do that. If you don't believe it is after a year, then I trust in Holmes, but the offensive line has to remain top 5.
Yeah. No, you made a great point, and it's certainly compelling about them not having what you would call their replacement. Obviously, if Taylor Decker leaves, you move Penei to the left, and then the right tackle position, there certainly is a bit of a question mark. I just think of all of the guys the guys they've already paid. They've extended Goff, they've paid Hutch, they paid Amon-Ra, and they paid Penei. I also am anticipating a big contract for Hutch and maybe somewhere down the road like a Laporta or a Brian Branch. And it's just, I just think that Taylor Decker is, as much as I like him, as much as I don't want him to leave this team, I think he is a potential contract casualty because the Lions are going to find out. It's harder to keep this roster constructed when you got to pay your best guys. Deservedly so, by the way, but...
And how much would you pay Taylor Decker?
That's a great question.
Justin put in his article, he estimated like a 3-year, $50 million, which is a 16, 17 mil a year.
Yes.
$50 million.
For a left tackle. I mean, it is a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's an interesting conversation. Like, you don't want to lose a guy like that.
They let Jonah walk for about that. So
I was going to say, so far, this organization has proven to be one that seems equipped for this type of stuff. But this is where, when we're talking about trusting in Brad Holmes, for the first phase, he's absolutely called a shot and knocked it out the park. Now he's entering into this next phase where you're talking about how to sustain the type of success that we've seen the Detroit Tigers have. And now this expectation, a lot of it's going to deal with how Brad Holmes handles this kind of maneuvering with the contract, the drafted players. Like, think about it. You're hitting on, like, all your draft picks. I don't know if he goes into these drafts thinking like, yeah, all these guys are going to hit. I'm going to be sitting here in a few years trying to figure out how to maneuver the contract. But this is what he's doing. And he's giving himself kind of the best of all worlds. All options are open to him. But how he handles this thing from here is going to be how I kind of move my trust in Brad Holmes.
Well, and as I've said before, and I'll say it again, his first test was the way that he handled the Jonah Jackson, Graham Glasgow, Kevin Zeitler situation. He handled it beautifully. Jonah Jackson is not a $17 million a year player, not even close. In my estimation, he was the least valuable of the great offensive line last year, which isn't a shot. It's just he was replaceable, and they got Kevin Zeitler and Graham Glasgow on an average annual value, which was less combined than what Jonah Jackson got with the Rams. That's a pretty good, I would say, first test. Yeah.
And side note, I didn't put this on the sheet, but have you been seeing some of the stuff coming out of camp, coming out of Frank Ragnow's skeet shooting charity event the other day? Ragnow feels as good as he has. Skeet shooting.
Yeah. That's a thing.
It's called skeet shooting,
That's
right?
actually, yeah.
Culturize me.
Right, please, because
I'm not that white.
Something totally different.
I'm not
just like
that far.
Right.
I'm right in the middle. I'm right in the middle. He feels as good as he has, I think he said, his entire career.
Yeah, he did say that.
Like, some of the toe stuff was blown out of proportion. But he's been able to have one of his best off-season. I know he said that. One of his best off-seasons of his career. That could change I mean, he's signed till 2026, so we don't need to talk contract. But if you can rely on him as your center for the next 2 years, we don't have to talk about retirement. The stability of that, I think he was ranked in one of the rankings that have come out. You know, the number 8 was the top player over 30 or some. Is he even 30? I don't know. He's one of the best offensive linemen in the league. He's a top 3, if not top 1 center in the league.
Key Ozzy in the chat says skeet. Eric, 2 birds, both stone. All skeet. Eric Allen, wrong skeet, boys.
That's right.
He's trying to get back
Educate
in line.
me, please. That's all he know about what type of skeet, man. But no, it makes perfect sense what you saying, man. I just that threw me off guard. But but no. It's easy it's good news that he's saying that, absolutely, but it's easy to say that in the offseason. So I think they still have to maybe account for, you're not going to have Ragnow going forward. They need to have some type of insurance policy for that going forward.
How about it? And last thing, I know we got to go to break here in a second. Dad with Tourette's, as a reminder, everybody, Decker was the 7th highest grade tackle in the entire NFL. Panay was number 1. He says, stop the Decker hate.
No, it isn't hate.
No, it's not hate at all. We would love to keep him, but these are the hard decisions you have to make.
These are.
That's why I'm glad you brought up the Jonah Jackson thing. We're already seeing these things taking place already.
These players that we know and love, and I feel like I'm telling people that Santa Claus isn't real. They're not going to be on rookie contracts forever. And I'm not trying to be a dick. It's just the reality.
Yeah.
Amon-Ra at the contract he's at now, and Panay at the contract they're at now, which is, $30 million and upwards of $30 million a year, is different than them being on rookie contracts. And I that's not a bad thing. It's the progression of the NFL. But that's why I think Taylor Decker, a guy who is, I would say on the back half of his career, he might be a guy that you let walk. I would love for him to stay. I would love for a negotiation to happen where it's a short-term deal, but if you're Taylor Decker, you might want a payday. And someone will probably give him one.
It's going to be interesting to see how Brad Holmes handles this from here. Obviously, he's already passing the early test with flying colors. Continues to call the shot. Continues to have this team set up for the long-term success. But let's get into this next segment. I know on the way we have what's trending, as well as you guys get your mailbag questions ready for the Feldman Automotive mailbag segment to end the show. So, hey, do we got any business to handle, JB?
Yeah, Soroki's.
Hey, let's go.
That's fine.
Soroki's crispy chicken and pizza. They've got every single thing you could possibly need. They got the Nashville hot menu. They've got the wings. They've got the pizza. They've got the chicken sandwich. Man, the way that they hooked us up on draft night downtown was it was
them tenders. Oh
after having a couple of drinks. This was the perfect thing to kind of soak it all up. And you guys should go to Soroki's. There's one in all different types of locations all over Metro Detroit. Get to Soroki's today for the Nashville hot chicken menu, or just for anything you want: pizza, biscuits, potato wedges, anything you could possibly want. Go to Soroki's and come enjoy the delicious heat.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, through all the price increases, inflation, all that, hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
Drive into summer and drive into savings during Feldman Chevrolet's biggest Memorial Day sale ever. We're stocked with new Chevy cars, trucks, and SUVs, all priced to move. Like this 2024 Silverado for only $217 a month. Or this 2024 Equinox for as low as $199 a month. Find your freedom in a Feldman at the Memorial Day sale going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
What up, though, people? Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys, chat family, for choosing to kick off the day with the entire Woo crew. Hey, guys, smash that like button. Once you have, encourage somebody else to do the same. It definitely helps us a ton. Hey, KG in the sound booth. We got Woodward Sports MVP in the TD booth, JB. Rolling with Broder.
Transition, baby.
What's the show? Final Sam, your boy Kool-Aid Justin. But you already know it's time to cook up. What you got for us, JB Smooth?
And now it's time for the most electrifying segment on the internet. Bum, bum, bum. It's What's Trending with JB. Live on Wake Up Woodward.
Ladies and gentlemen, JBSMOOOOOV.
That's right.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Hello.
What's going on?
Hello.
Hello. Ah, God, you know the weather's getting nice outside, so you know what that means, everybody. It's time for golf season. And unfortunately, maybe you shouldn't practice this in your own neighborhood.
Oh, boy.
Yes, in the garage, already not a good idea.
Already not a good sign.
With the car right there.
What's about to happen? When you hate your neighbor across the street.
Pretty much.
I guess you really must hate your neighbor.
He must be Ned
Jeez.
Flanders, because, come on now.
That was too perfect.
You shooting it right at his house, bro.
Well, we could call anybody to do that.
Like, what you doing, man?
This guy been going to the golf range, bro, to practice this.
The key is, did he tell the neighbor, or did he just scurry back in the house and wait for the aftermath?
I would make his life miserable for the rest of his existence living across the street from me.
I swear to God.
I probably would have just ran in the house. I'm not gonna lie.
I'd hire kids to ding dong ditch him every single night in the middle.
Right. Poop in
what
the
is
bag,
he doing?
light it on fire.
Boy,
what's wrong
I'm
with
kicking
people?
over your garbage
nice,
cans. I'm doing some sick shit to you, man. Like I don't appreciate that.
Freaking idiots.
Shout out to Crazy Clips for that one. But man. Oh, if you guys didn't know already that it is prom season. It's also graduation season as well too. Shout out to my niece Savannah.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Hey.
But guys, would you go to prom if your date came out like this?
Oh,
what?
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a hearse right there.
With the Undertaker music?
Well, the Undertaker music just behind it, but that is a hearse that this man's prom date.
Ministry of Darkness taker too.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so the driver literally pulls the hearse over to the high school, opens the casket.
All right, I got a question.
And my man's date pops out of it.
Damn.
She's skinny as hell.
I mean,
not the body shame.
So the dude wasn't in there too?
No, the dude was not in there. The dude was like actually at the high school, and yeah, the man pulled up in a hearse.
You know she an emo.
His date was inside the casket, and she pops out of it.
Look at Sam's face. He's like, "What the hell?
Why?
What's wrong with people?"
Is anybody? Are you going on a date with any of the?
I might take her to the prom, but I'm definitely not leaving with her.
Oh, you gotta leave with her, man. Like,
how much did this cost? What are we doing?
I don't know, but it's kind of crazy. Like, is anybody taking her to prom?
So here's the thing. There was, and KG, you mentioned it perfectly because we're about the same age. There was a large faction of girls back when I went to high school, like the emo type that would just love to do something like this. And I'll tell you what, I was kind of into it back in the day. Not so much anymore, though.
You had the chain pants, the chain little parachute pants.
Nah. I had the skinny jeans and straightened my hair at some point. There is no photo evidence.
Good.
So we can't find it just in case.
It's a race from history.
You buried those in the coffin too.
So you're showing up in a coffin then?
No.
Absolutely.
No, because I just liked some of the music and stuff and going to like Warped Tour. I didn't have this fascination with death.
Right.
Or anything like that.
Chef, I see you in the chats, bro. I see you.
Yes.
If she doing this for prom, what is she doing for the wedding though? Like,
oh no,
that's crazy.
word.
She coming out the grave for the wedding. It's on some Undertaker shit.
I'm gonna ask you guys in mailbag. I'm gonna ask you if you guys have had, when you were back in high school or whatever, if you had any creative homecoming or prom proposals. What they call it, a promposal?
Yeah.
Or was that Bryce Harper?
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say, you know what? Save that question because I do have a video for that later in mailbag. But I will continue on with this. You know what, man? Just don't even show up for work tomorrow.
Oh, what you doing?
Why is he hanging out the truck?
What is you doing, big fella?
What was he hanging half at the truck? Did you sit down after the accident?
Just don't come to work tomorrow, man.
Is he gonna do it again?
Right?
No, he's trying to make an escape. That's what he's trying to do right now.
You caught, man.
That boy's going for an escape car. That's literally stuff out of like Looney Tunes, man. That joint's going like 10 miles an hour. Why is he?
Yeah, why was he out
already
the truck?
hanging out the truck?
Why was the truck moving? Like, I don't understand.
In the era of Ring doorbells, you can't get away with this stuff.
You can't
like,
get
why
away
are you
with
driving
nothing.
away?
Oh my God.
Getting filmed
Nice.
as soon as you walk outside.
Getting filmed as soon as you walk outside. Shout out to Wild Content for that one. But man, Broder,
Yo.
I gotta tee this one up for you.
Oh boy.
You gotta do play-by-play on this one.
Oh boy.
Let's go.
Shout out to the SEC Network for this one. But man, this is a hell of a play.
Of Santa Ana Community College.
If you pull off this trick.
And he's coming home. Oh, nobody saw him.
Wait.
That's Kentucky baseball at its finest.
Wait, what did I
Emilian Petrie scored from
Oh! I've run this play before.
Are you serious?
Yeah. When I was on first, this is a trick play. You bust out like once a year. The guy on first base, you got runners on first and third, less than 2 outs.
Right.
Guy on first, actually, There needs to, less
so
than 2 outs.
Send both players?
No. So the first guy on first base takes off. Well, you might send them both at the same time. The guy on first base takes off early. He pretends to trip in the middle of the baseline, like a step or two. So either the pitcher notices it and he throws over to first so that the runner on third can make it home, or if sometimes they do it where he pitches it, the guy tries to steal, he trips, a couple steps into trying to steal second base. So the catcher then throws it to first, or is just like focused on what's all this action going on the base path over there, while the guy running down the third baseline makes it. Looks like they ran it to perfection.
Yeah, safe at second, too.
You got to do that with no outs, right?
It's got to be less than 1 or no outs.
Yeah.
Because there's a strong chance that the guy on first gets thrown out.
Exactly.
Either on second or first. He made it safe here.
Yeah.
We saw the Royals yesterday. They ran a delay steal. I've seen more and more of those in big league, in the major leagues, in the big leagues. I love play. I was not a fast runner, but I had I led the state, I think, in delayed steals.
Nice.
Just trying to catch the. They call it filling when the shortstop or second baseman, you go back up second base. You back up the throw from the catcher to the pitcher. If they're not doing that, they're just standing still after each pitch. You take a couple hops, and then you take off, and there's no one at second base. Usually they throw it into center field.
Hey, you know what?
Nice.
All love to you, my brother in steals.
Right. Hey, you wasn't fast on the base pass, but Kool-Aid was.
Oh, yeah.
That's all they used him for.
Yes, sir.
That's it. That was my claim to baseball fans.
I wonder why.
Lead the league in steals. Now ask me about my batting average.
Well, we won't do that, but that's it for what's trending, you guys. Let's hop into some mailbag.
Let's go.
JB.
JB. Let's rock.
Yes, but first,
Tell
the
'em.
sponsor of our mailbag, Feldman Chevrolet. Feldman Chevrolet, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer. Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. With 18 locations, there's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest you. Stay tuned every single month because we will be announcing when we are going to Feldman. I think it's a once-a-month thing now. So, if you guys want to come by, buy a car, come say hello to us, come to Feldman Chevrolet and Novi, and visit Feldman for any of your car buying needs.
What a heck of an ad, man.
Yeah.
Good job.
I appreciate it.
Let's go. Let's
get better
into
every
it.
day.
Let's go. The Wake Up Woodward Mailbag segment presented by Feldman Automotive Group. Broder, have you seen any interesting ones?
I have. I got a handful of great questions. So we're going to fire through these for our Feldman Automotive mailbag segment. I'm going to start with Danny G. Mailbag, is there a position group, this is Lions related, is there a position group that you are worried about? I look at all the groups and can't find one that isn't stacked. Brad Holmes completely flipped this roster in 3 years. So you're worried about any position group in particular?
For me, it would be edge rusher still, just because of the health of Marcus Davenport. Until I see it, I'm a little worried. I feel like they could add at least one more player to that room to make sure it's solidified. But until proven otherwise, I'm worried about Marcus Davenport's health. That's all.
I'm not necessarily worried with the wide receiver room, but I am very, very curious because there are some questions there with J-Mo. You want to see if DPJ can be the 800-yard season guy again. I'm very, very intrigued.
Yeah, the funny thing is I kind of want to say edge rusher, but Josh Paschal. Come on. I said he was the breakout guy. So if Marcus Davenport goes down, I'm just saying he's going to be solid. He's going to be one of the better defensive line depth pieces in all of the NFL. So that to me alleviates that concern a bit. I suppose if I had one, it would be wide receiver. Just because they didn't really address it. They're kind of banking on J-Mo breaking out and DPJ regaining his old form, which none of those are guarantees.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Jebby?
Sorry, I completely blanked on the question. I was looking at some other stuff trying to download this video.
Oh, no problem. A position group that you might be worried about or you're going to keep your eye on.
It's got to be either the edge or wide receiver. Just like I know we're comfortable with Amon-Ra and J-Mo, but I think you just kind of need that solid third weapon that you know for sure is just going to be out there. So it's probably the wide receiver room for me.
Word. Stephen David, mailbag. What's your spice level preference on a scale of black pepper is spicy to give me the ghost peppers?
Give me the ghost pepper.
Yeah, give me
I'm
the ghost
a big
pepper.
spicy person. I eat everything spicy. I keep the Frank's Red Hot on the nightstand. I'm just one of them type of people. So
Frank's on the nightstand?
Yeah, man.
Damn.
You got to keep it handy, man.
Bro, man, you sound like my mom. She's from the South, man. North Carolina, South Carolina. Gotta have the hot sauce by the nightstand.
Yeah.
She even puts it on
Really?
popcorn as well. Yeah.
This is actually a thing?
Oh man,
Hot sauce by the night. This isn't a lube joke.
No.
Okay.
What joke?
A lube joke?
Lubricant.
Wait, a what joke?
I'm not using Frank's Red Hot for lubricant.
Oh my God.
I don't know why it's on a nightstand. Just asking, guys.
I eat a lot of food.
Oh my goodness.
Hot sauce for lube though is wild.
Flannel, don't say you're mild.
That's a little wild.
Are you gonna say mild?
No.
He is.
Plus?
All right. So my spice level is the absolute limit to where it's comfortable for me is at Qdoba. They got the Cholula hot chicken with queso Diablo.
Yes.
It's
I
awesome.
can get up with
Really
that.
good.
Yes.
But anything hotter than that and it's just too uncomfortable, I don't even enjoy it.
So you're
wait,
like
wait.
in the middle.
Yeah.
So you can't do Jamaican spice?
I've never had it.
Oh man, so good.
We gotta
such a
work
jerk.
this out.
So
Look,
good.
'cause
I
look,
see what
there
you
is the
did.
barbecue, but Caribbean and Jamaican food.
Oh my
Stop
God.
it. I can use some. I ain't had a good Jamaican
Hey, you know what?
meal
I'm
in a
not gonna
while.
lie. One of my biggest dreams is to be on the show Hot Ones. I really want to go on
Yeah,
that
man,
show.
for real.
I'm not gonna lie. I just want to be on that show.
Could do it on Saturday Night Vibe. I'm just saying.
Ooh,
Good.
hey.
Nate Edgington, mailbag. The Tiger season does or does not depend on Torque being able to hit 30 home runs.
Yeah, it kind of is. I mean, it's hard to deny that at this point. We don't have a long ball hitter in this lineup, and from what we've seen so far, they're not able to really play the small ball style of baseball that you would like them to see. So at this point, I got to say yes.
I care more about him getting the on-base percentage up, and I think everything will fall into place from there. But at the same time, am I confident about it?
Yeah.
It's almost 2 months into the year, and Torque, he kind of stinks right now. He just does. Just the facts
Fair.
of the matter.
John Effing Lord, mailbag. KG and JB, who do you see winning the King and Queen of the Ring?
Go ahead, KG.
King of the Ring, definitely the Ring General, Gunther. Gunther is that guy. They're going to, I promise you he's going to be a future world champion. As far as the women, though, I don't know. I haven't tapped into the women's Queen of the Ring. Who's eligible right now, JB?
I haven't really tapped into that either, but I will second Gunther will eventually win this. I'm still upset Jay's not in it anymore, but it is what it is. But KG, I gotta ask, did you see our boy Buddy Murphy on Instagram the other day?
Nah, what are you talking about?
Oh man, he's living the time of his life
I
right
bet he
now.
is. He got Rhea Ripley.
With Rhea Ripley, there's a photo of him at the beach, just him chilling on her back with cheeks out.
Cheek? Did you say cheeks?
Yes,
Big
with
cheeks.
Rhea's cheeks out, not his.
Yeah.
You said big cheeks.
She got big cheeks.
She got some big cheeks.
She got some cheeks on her.
breakdown. I love this show.
Yeah, she has some cheeks on her, man. But Dominic, I don't know how Dirty Dom gonna take that, man.
No, it's Liv and Dirty Dom now.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
what's
They
happening.
keep teasing it, man. They keep teasing it.
Back to the Lions, hoof-hearted, mailbag. This entire season hinges on Aaron Glenn. Is he any good, or will he still have shit defense and a whole list of excuses?
Well, that's two extremes.
That's
That's two extremes.
The strays, like, God.
I'll answer myself quickly. I think he's going to have a really good season. He finally has the players, the ingredients to work with what he wants to do as a DC. I'm expecting big things out of Aaron Glenn.
Yeah. I'm optimistic about Aaron Glenn as well. And not just him, but the support he has from Dan Campbell and the types of players that are here. I believe it's going to be a really, really good recipe, a really good mix between Aaron Glenn, the players, as well as Dan Campbell this season.
Yep, I third that.
Yeah, I don't think Aaron Glenn's a trash D coordinator. Is he a great one? We shall see. He's got the most talent he's ever worked with, and it's certainly a bit of a prove-it season, but I think this Lions defense is going to certainly be the best it's been in the Campbell-Holmes era. So give me he'll at least show that he's a more than competent defensive coordinator this year.
You know what, though? I like the way you put that, though. Is he a great one? We'll see.
We see,
know
yeah.
that. We
Yeah.
know that he's something.
Yeah.
But to be able to see him be great this year or not, I think that's the difference between the Detroit Lions not just making the Super Bowl, but winning it. If he has a great year based on how this offense already does things, man, you get that defense up to that level, lights out.
If he somehow proves that he's like a Steve Spagnuolo in waiting, I don't think that's the case. But if he does, Super Bowl.
Yes.
Let's go.
Chef Talks Lions, mailbag. Why are y'all acting like Casket Girl want to do something strange for a piece of change?
Like who?
Casket Girl.
Oh, Casket
my
Girl.
gosh. Chef is still on Casket Girl.
I don't know, man. She might be a little too kinky.
You know what? We got to ask.
Yeah.
Casket Girl or Lizzie from Canton?
She might be into that BDSM type deal. I don't know if I'm down with that. So.
Casket Girl or Fish Girl?
Neither.
Remember that?
Oh,
I'm going fish girl. Hey, Jergens. I picked Jergens.
Nothing to do with that.
Yeah, objectively,
Shout out to this still
Casket Girl.
being in the system.
No. No.
Yeah, I'm good on both of them. No
Kinda hot,
offense.
though.
It's
That's just
kind of hot though. Brother would do it. He'd take the chance. He wouldn't tell nobody. That'd be one of them sneaky links. He wouldn't tell nobody.
Hey, to answer easy in the chat, go back and watch what's trending. You'll see. You'll see who Casket Girl is.
Yeah.
Just a few minutes.
I think it was like 46, 47-ish.
Yeah.
Ed O'Neill, mailbag. Would this path to the Super Bowl cure years of pain for Lions fans? Dallas in divisional. So Lions beat these teams. Dallas in divisional. Green Bay in NFC title game. Aaron Rodgers in the Super Bowl.
That would be the greatest day ever, obviously.
Yeah.
What? Re-ask that question? My bad.
Would that path to the Super Bowl cure years of pain for Lions fans? Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
You're checking off so many boxes right there.
Yeah.
Like
Aaron
that
Rodgers
one
not
girl
making
on the roast who actually I'm not going to go there.
But yes, Eduardo, 100%. It should be unanimous, yes.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers not making a Super Bowl though. Go ahead. My side.
Agree. Freddie Fall 313 mailbag. Martin or Fresh Prince? Provide justification for your answer, comma, please.
Martin. Martin. I love Fresh Prince, but gotta be Martin, man. That was one of the funniest sitcoms, period.
Based on where?
Detroit.
Let's rock.
What's that?
Let's rock. Let's rock. And I love Fresh Prince as well, but I gotta go with Martin, man.
Yeah.
The Detroit flavor.
I'm gonna go with I would say Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil.
No, Fresh Prince. Because I think Uncle Phil to me is that tiebreaker character. He's one of my favorite sitcom characters of all time. You know,
point.
you love Will, you love Jazz, but Uncle Phil is really that. Or you love Carlton, but Uncle Phil is really that mature, patriarchal, funny character. And the bit where he throws Jazz out of the house, one of the greatest bits in sitcom history.
Jeff, get out. Yeah. No, that's definitely the best, man.
I gotta go with Fresh Prince. I'm sorry. I love Martin too, based in Detroit and everything. There's a lot of behind the scenes and inside stories I know about both of the shows, but it was just something about Fresh Prince for me that just kind of went over the top. They dealt with a lot of issues that were going on today.
True.
And hey, that one scene with Uncle Phil and Will Smith together, that was just unscripted completely. The breakdown, like that one hurts your soul, and that hits your soul so much. So I just gotta go with Fresh Prince.
You know what, JB? I think you just won me over, bro. I like Martin. I grew up with my grandma, my mom always having that on, but Fresh Prince was that deal.
And Fresh Prince got a sequel.
You know what it does?
It does. Two more real quick. The second one's even quicker. Ninja Jinja, mailbag. Is it time to stop focusing on the Tigers? 9 games back and now pitching is falling apart. Does Illich put this back together or new ownership? There's a lot in that.
Yeah.
One person answer.
No, I was going to say, if they lose today and on the homestand they lose that homestand, then they're irrelevant. Then I think they would have lost it before the season even really got going, because you can do that early on. When you implode like they have, then that's just the type of stuff that happens. You got to live with the consequences.
Yeah. To answer you directly, no, it's not time to stop focusing on the Tigers. They play every day, and you're going to hear them out of my mouth every morning.
That's fair.
Right.
And 9 games back, and now pitching is falling apart. Pitching is not falling apart.
Yeah.
They had a horrible game. Moving on. It happens. They play 162 games. No pitcher is 20-0 with a 1.0 ERA. Yep. So we're good there. Love you, though, Ninja Jinja, a valued member of the chat. Last one, rake-ass mailbag. Who gets sunburned first this weekend, Broder or Flannel?
Me. Me. I think I'm even more fair-skinned than you are, Broder.
What did Broder say? He's not that white?
The skeet shooting. There are levels to this. What is it, melanin? The melanin levels are they change with the sun.
Let's go.
Broder, did you want to ask that prom question?
Oh yeah, well, on our way out.
Let's go.
Any creative promposals or homecoming? You guys do anything cute when you were in high school?
I did. The girl that I asked, I was in choir class and we had one of our like monthly concerts. On stage, we were doing, I forgot the song. It was by Far East Movement, the Here We Go, Come With Me. Yeah, we was doing that. I was a baritone, so I was doing the low voice. And yeah, I snuck it in right after the song was over. And of course she said yes, so.
Hell yeah.
That's
like a G6?
Not like a G6. It's Let's Fly.
Rocketeer.
Oh, yeah, Rocketeer.
Yeah,
Good song, by the way. Good song.
KG's got a voice.
I do.
Boys?
Let's go.
No, I was as virgin as can be in high school.
Oh
my God.
Hey, I ain't now.
Hey! Why is that, Flannel?
I got a wife.
Let's
Talk
go.
your shit.
Let's go.
Anybody else?
I didn't do anything special.
No?
Nah, nothing special. Just showed up, did my thing. I was like too cool for school in high school, man.
Hey, that's all right.
Hey, I didn't do anything too special either. I just showed up to the girl work, kind of hung out for a minute, and then asked her when she was on lunch break. But I got to show you this because, brother, you teed this up as well too. I don't know if this is old news or whatnot, but I just got to know, how much did this cameo cost? My man got Bryce Harper to help ask his girl to prom.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, was he expecting a no? Like, why do you have to go to these
Bryce
lengths?
Harper, like,
I'd go with him.
She hugged him immediately too.
Hey,
she hugs him before the kid, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes. I'll go with you, Bryce.
You're MVP.
I got a
boyfriend
question
is
for you
over
guys,
there. What
okay?
the hell?
I got a
He
question.
gets no love.
I want to live in this
Got love
neighborhood.
afterwards. That's messed up.
I like where Broder's priorities are.
Yeah, this looks like a nice neighborhood.
Yeah.
I do
Like-
got a question. What celebrity would you bring with you to try and impress somebody?
The ugliest guy.
Shout
Will
out
you bring
Skimo.
Pete Davidson?
Or we bring a girl.
No, you can't bring Pete Davidson.
No,
you can't do that.
No, I don't know. I asked my friend, by the way, real quick. It was late in the process to homecoming or prom or something, and I knew her parents well. Actually, her dad was one of my basketball coaches. But I got a wireless alarm clock.
Yeah.
And I while she was away, I went to her house. I hid it under her bed with a note, and I set the alarm clock for like the middle of the night. And the note said, "I know it's a little late, but will you go to homecoming with me?"
Aww.
As Sarah tweet, as my girl.
Hey,
Shout out.
That's nice. You know, Denver Blair, he said the celebrity he would bring with him is
no.
Did you put it up on the screen?
I put it up on the screen. No, do not bring him.
Right.
Did he please, dear Lord?
Hey, I'm seeing some answers here in the chat.
Yeah, what are they?
Kiazi said he would bring Flavor Flav.
That's a lot of energy.
That's a whole lot of energy.
Beyonce.
Ryan's reaction is bringing Gucci Mane.
Right.
Oh, man. What else in there? Oh, Shah said what? Beyonce?
Yeah.
Man.
What about Bow Wow?
No.
Bow Wow in a while.
Not his lame ass.
Kelvin Cambridge. Wait, he's lame. Did something happen?
Well, it's a long story. We won't get
Yeah.
into it. But maybe Ed Sheeran. You can't say no to Ed Sheeran.
Oh,
right?
yeah, that's a good one.
He could sing.
Baby now.
What about Trey Songz? Yeah.
Oh, no,
No.
don't do that. That's Mr. Steal Your Girl. Why would you bring
Mr.
it?
I mean, it's
Steal
better
Your
than
song.
Usher. Hell.
No,
Girl, you know.
Usher gonna fill up on your
Yeah.
girl and then steal her. Now,
Girl, you know.
Just stay away from the R&B.
You remember
people.
that, JB? Skip him, bro. That's Mr. Steal Your Song, too.
Right.
yeah.
We remember. We know.
Take us out, Kool-Aid.
Time to break this thing down?
Yes.
Hey, you know what? Shout out to our 6-man in the building. What up, though, Justin? Hey, great
Young
job,
Juices.
great work as always, man. And you know what? We got some changes on the way. I know there's some new tunes that are in the system, some new beats that are going up. You guys are going to start to see that. JB, shout out to you for cooking up the kind of lower third that pops up when the music is playing. You're cooking up, man. Good
Hey,
job.
I'm trying, man.
So, yeah, shout out to Woodward Sports MVP, JB Smooth. And the TD Boot.
Yo, what's going on? Another
Press.
good show, everybody. And hey, if I could, I'd probably just out here just waiting for a WNBA player to scoop me up just so I can take a prom. So
Kelsey Plum.
holla at me, Kelsey Plum, Cameron Britt, you know.
Yeah.
You know what? The way you say that, KG, it's like it's weight to it. It's weight to it.
Yeah.
The way you say it, it's like those are full-on double D's.
Yo, yeah.
Shout out to Detroit's #1 draft pick and Rookie of the Year.
Damn right.
You say you're going for MVP.
I
That's
am.
KG in the sound booth.
Hey, appreciate y'all. Great show again today. And shout out to everybody in the chat. Chef Talks Lions. Check your email, bro. I reached out. So
Hey, you know
Check
what?
your email, Chef.
The chat has been on one today. Shout out to Flannel Sam, the vet of the squad, always bringing the heat, bringing the facts, bringing the numbers, bringing the laughs, man.
Hey, Chef was hating a little earlier, so the fact he didn't get that email, maybe I'm kidding. No, but fun show. The chat, you do your thing as always. Even you, Shad, and I'll tell you what,
Shad.
this is such a fun time because you got the conference finals in the NHL and the NBA. We'll be breaking that down more on this show moving forward because why not? It's almost championship time. So you guys, I hope you guys all enjoyed as well.
Hey, you know what? I really enjoyed just kind of talking ball.
Yeah. Sports.
Oh, yeah. That was dope. That was. I know everybody here are hoop knowers and hoop lovers. Yes. You know what? Let's get this. Hey, that's strong right there. Right in the pocket. It's your boy Brandon, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid. Shout out to Stick, who also just walked in as well. Chat family, as always, you guys are the most important part of this platform. Hey, say what up, Stick.
Why is JB laughing like this? What are you talking about?
No, I'm laughing at KG over saying Jared Goff and Booty Kids.
Jared Goff. Booty Kids, too.
Why do you have sunglasses on today?
Because I'm fly.
Hey, you know what? They need to upgrade them. We need to give them those.
What other reason do I need besides I'm fly?
We got to upgrade them, though, Sid. We got to get them those official Woodward Sports bumps. You see that there? At Woodward Sports on them. Come on,
okay.
Let's go.
Official.
Let's go.
Promo glasses.
You're right.
Let's go.
The turnover ball.
Appreciate everybody that rocks those glasses. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Let's go, man. Yo, it's been a great show. And Chat family, it's because of you all as well. Thank you for the motivation, encouragement, and just kicking it with the crew this morning. Tap into Big D Energy and all the rest of the shows on Woodward Sports. Have a great day, you guys. It's been Wake Up Woodward. Be blessed.
I'm okay. I just smoked another to the face, yeah.